You know, there's another undefeated team in the Big East that would love to get a shot at that national championship thing. Greg Schiano is going to join us at halftime. We'll talk Rutgers place and all of this, Chris.
Reese, thank you. Famous tune here, my old Kentucky home. Always a part of Derby Saturday and a part of this very huge Thursday night in college football. This is not really Derby weather. It's chilly. Temperatures in the 30s. Winds 15 miles per hour, which puts the wind chill down in the 20s. But these both offenses, Kirk, expect to light this up. And West Virginia comes in here with the best rushing offense in the country. They're the second highest scoring offense in the country, thanks to very high impact players in the backfield.
Well, the one thing you know about West Virginia every single game is that Pat White and Steve Slayton have the ability to run the football, lead the nation in rushing. And Chris, what's amazing is even if you put 9 people up, they still can run the ball. That'll be more of a challenge tonight. And Boo McLeay, Kevin McLeay on the other side, number 43, their best defensive player, will be active tonight trying to slow down the Cards running game led by Colby Smith.
Louisville fans all bundled up here tonight. West Virginia faithful have made the trip. Can Louisville contain the West Virginia running game? Can West Virginia deal with Brian Brom? Can he be sharp tonight, Kirk? Only his 3rd game back after thumb surgery.
Well, he had some surgery, and they told him he would not be able to come back for 6 weeks. He came back purposely 4 weeks to get a couple games under his belt to be able to be ready for this game. So I expect him to be sharp tonight. Colby Smith had maybe his best game of his career last week against Syracuse. And Okoye on the other side, a big defensive tackle. He's become the leader this year with Elvis Dumerville now in the NFL, number 91. Very, very important on the inside to try to slow down that tandem of Pat White and Steve Slayton of West Virginia.
Louisville coaches believe that Brian Brom will seize this big stage and return to his vintage form, and they're hanging their hopes on that tonight. Head coach Bobby Petrino only lost 1 game at this field, has a eerie calm about him this week. He's with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Coach, while there is a lot of buildup about the game, a lot of talk about Brian Brom's thumb, how is it?
It's great. He's done an excellent job the last 2 weeks in practice. He's got the 2 games behind him. He's really excited about getting out here tonight and performing.
Now tonight, wind chill supposed to be in the 20s. How will the cold weather be a factor for him?
I don't think it'll affect him at all. He's always liked the cold weather, doesn't like the heat at all, so he's looking forward to the game.
And it won't be a factor for that thumb?
No, I don't think it will at all.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Aaron, thank you. Inside of 6 minutes to kick off here in the biggest football game in the history of Louisville, Kentucky, and one of the biggest in the history of the Big East. Almost post time. Hope you'll stick around. Speed on speed with precision at a premium. It's the march to Big East supremacy with possibly the national treasure in the balance. Perfection is on the line. The Mountaineers and the Cardinals. Showdown in the Ville is now.
Ain't no use in the acting. The issue is the question. There ain't no quitting now. It's the time to get respected. You're blinded by the lights when you're rushing to the goal. But we gon' make it happen, whether rain, sleet, or snow. It's the showdown in the Ville.
They file out past the statue of Johnny Unitas. When he played here at Louisville, this wasn't even an NCAA school. The program has come a long way since then, but it's never seen a game this big. And the fans have responded to the call for a blackout. The all-black uniforms for the Louisville Cardinals. So much on the line for both of these football teams. The motivation for Louisville erased the pain of that collapse a year ago in Morgantown. They've only lost 1 game since. The Mountaineers have not lost since. That was the game that Slayton and White emerged as a dangerous tandem. There was no stomping by the visitors on that Redbird logo before the game. It was well guarded by coaches from both sides. West Virginia has won the toss, and they will defer to the second half. And the Mountaineers make their entrance in front of their faithful who have journeyed down from Morgantown. This is real November football weather here. Something, Kirk, both teams are going to have to cope with. Windy for the quarterbacks and the specialists.
It's something that, as a quarterback, you work in these kind of conditions. It's why you don't go into the indoor facility. And these quarterbacks, watching them on the field before the game, they both were throwing the ball with great accuracy and great velocity.
It's incredible what Louisville has done in that 15-game winning streak. 51 points per game. Look at the touchdown to interceptions.
Look at the 51 points a game in the last 15 games here at Papa John's Stadium. And I think that's the equalizer. That's why Louisville comes into this game. Even though offensively they haven't played well in the last 2 weeks against the University of Cincinnati and Syracuse, they have confidence coming back to this stadium that Brian Brohm and his offense will be clicking tonight.
Yeah, the 2 games he's come back since that thumb surgery. He came back much faster than expected. Have not been vintage Brian Brohm. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions in those games against Cincinnati here and up at Syracuse. They're really hoping he can regain the pre-injury form.
And talking to him yesterday, he told me that it was very important to come back in those 2 games, to knock the rust off, to find his rhythm, to try to get all the mistakes he might make out of the way in those games, and to get his rhythm back with his teammates, his receivers, and his offensive linemen. That's why he felt he had such great value. He also said he's going to have a lot more mobility. This is the best that his thumb has felt since the surgery after the Miami game. So I expect him to be in sync and play well.
Well, we also expect the West Virginia offense to play well. At White, Steve Slayton, tremendous tandem. Together they average 240 yards rushing. White has been an efficient passer when he's had to, but nobody's really made this offense throw the ball that much.
Every defensive coordinator comes into the game saying we have to stop Steve Slayton and Pat White from running the football. Tonight, it's no different with what Louisville wants to do. Louisville, Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator, told me late last night that they're going to unveil a defensive scheme that he has not coached and not drawn up since going all the way back to 2001 when he was at Illinois.
Wow.
He was trying to stop Antoine Randall. He's going to unveil it tonight, and it's all about putting people up at the line of scrimmage, 9 guys up at the line of scrimmage, and trying to stop that running game.
Cassidy, a coach who's spent time in the hospital, a urinary tract infection, has really cut down his ability to prepare for this game. He's trying to dig deep himself and implement the new offense. So the Mountaineers to kick off to Louisville, a team that is known in this streak, Kirk, for fast starts on offense, but not in the last few weeks. They haven't been nearly as sharp executing offensively at the beginning of games. So we'll see what Brohm and company can do in this opening possession. Everybody on their feet and bundled up in Louisville. And the deep kickoff from Pat McAfee. No return. So Louisville will get the football at the 20-yard line. We'll keep an eye on their playmaking wide receivers. Mario Urrutia, 6'6". He's got matchup advantages over those West Virginia corners. Harry Douglas is speedy as well. They use the tight end Barnage as well.
Well, the balance tonight will be very important for Brian Brohm. He's got to get Colby Smith on track. Again, West Virginia has the 3-3-5 scheme, which it turns out to be an 8-man front. They put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage. So Brohm in the passing game could eventually open up the running game for Colby Smith, but balance is central for the Cards.
Smith, the senior, is the lone setback behind Brohm. We go play action on first down. Over the middle, complete, across the 40-yard line. And there is number 85, Harry Douglas, the junior. He's their steady wide receiver. Leads the team, 22 yards.
Chris, Brian Brohm told us yesterday that the linebackers like to get up into the line of scrimmage off play action. There are a lot of great seams right behind the linebackers vertically with it. Tonight, you're going to see Brohm with a little bit more zip on his ball with the thumb feeling better. You'll see them attack those seams down into that West Virginia defense.
They believe that if Brohm can be accurate, they can create a lot of plays just like that. After 22 yards on the first play, the Mountaineers show pressure at Smith. Finds a crease to the right, slams straight ahead into the DB and carries him forward. That Mountaineer defense, Kirk talked about the unorthodox 3-3-5 kind of oddball front. They do have 5 defensive backs, and keep an eye on number 8, Quinton Andrews. He's a redshirt freshman. He's very aggressive, a tough player, but he's got to be disciplined tonight.
He has to be disciplined, and being a freshman in this kind of game with so much on the line, Bobby Petrino is an offensive genius. You have to think sooner or later he will test the freshman vertically with the passing game downfield to see how he responds.
Shotgun on 2nd and 5. Brohm over the middle, complete. It's caught by Mario Urrutia. The tall, lanky receiver, first down yardage at the 42 of West Virginia. Again, those pockets they talked about.
Pockets in a zone. This is a defense that, again, likes to crowd the line of scrimmage. They're going to always keep their secondary deep to prevent the big play. What that does is it opens up opportunities underneath. It teaches a quarterback you have to be patient to find not only seams, Chris, vertically, but also in between the linebackers. And, again, Brian Brom, as we expected, feeling very, very good. And Urrutia has a great advantage with his size against these West Virginia corners.
It'll make the Cardinal fans feel a lot better, those first two throws by Brom right on target. Play clock at 5 as Brom changes the play. Mountaineers bring pressure. They pick it up well, and he flips over the middle again. It's complete. This is Patrick Carter, the junior. So 3 completions, 3 different receivers. Bobby Hathaway, the strong side linebacker, on the stop. 12 more yards. Kirk 46 yards now in those first 3 completions.
Brian Brom looks very, very comfortable, and they're doing a nice job protecting him. But you're going to, again, see how West Virginia, their safeties and corners are getting back. This time the linebackers feeling the pressure, trying to get back to avoid those seams down the middle. They're leaving a vacated zone underneath it, and the read by Brian Brom, perfect in the throw as well.
This is Anthony Allen now, the true freshman, in a tailback for the first time. And the big guy from Florida gets the carry, gets good yardage. Close to the first down marker inside the 20. 230 pounds out of Tampa Jesuit.
We have seen 5 offensive plays, and we've seen a different formation and a different play every single time. That's what makes this offense so tough, and the way they can mix in different backs. Anthony Allen, 6'2", 230 pounds. Colby Smith at 5'11", 220. Brian Brom with the plethora of receivers to throw to. It's a difficult scheme to prepare for because it's so versatile.
On 2nd and 1, Harry Douglas comes in motion. And they give it up to the freshman, who turns the corner and muscles forward. It's a major question mark, the run-stopping ability of this West Virginia defense against a physical running attack. They're not big.
Right now they're having their way with them up front. And again, Chris, I got to go back, and I know Rich Rodriguez is seeing this and probably a little concerned about this, but Bobby Petrino's done a very good job here early, mixing up things, not only as far as the balance with his run to throw, but also mixing up things with his formations. This West Virginia defense in his first drive, they don't know what's coming next. 6 plays, 3 runs, and 3 passes.
Brom, this time pressured and dropped. John Holmes, the Spurs safety, found a crease. He came around the tight end and got to Brom. First real positive play for that West Virginia defense.
Yeah, John Holmes has great speed, great acceleration, and he just goes right by Kuhn, the tight end. Really a poor effort by Kuhn to get outside, and you cannot afford to do that when you have an outside linebacker with the speed and athletic ability of John Holmes.
3rd sack in the year for Holmes. West Virginia has a lot of sacks from those linebackers and defensive backs. Creative pressure to the 7-yard loss. Interesting formation here. Smith comes around, does a nice job picking up the blitzer, but the throw is low and bounces up the carpet, intended for Gary Barnidge.
It's amazing how one play, the one sack, can kill the momentum of a drive. You work all week, and look at the footwork here of Brian Brom. This is a little of the rust. Actually doesn't get his feet set, turned to make the throw. He just tried to fling it out to the tight end late by just using his arm. A little thing with an experienced quarterback like Brian Brom has to turn and get his feet set to make the accurate throw. Now all of a sudden it's 3rd and long off of one play by John Holmes.
The sacks have been few and far between for that West Virginia defense this year. That's only the 15th in the season. On 3rd and long, Brom steps up, delivers short once again, hopped on the way to Urrutia. So the sack spoils a nice drive for Louisville, and Art Carmody, a very accurate junior kicker from Shreveport, will come in. Red zone troubles. They got barely into the red zone there. That's been a problem in the last couple of games for Louisville. 3 points instead of 7. That's why the Cincinnati game was close.
The Cincinnati game was close. They had to score late against Syracuse. They've been frustrated with the inability to finish drives off and rely on Carmody to come up with 3 points.
11 of 12 for the left-footed kicker on the season, and he just sneaks that one in. So Louisville uses A little bit more than 4 minutes on its opening drive, puts 3 points on the board. And when you come back, the first possession with that powerful West Virginia offense of White and Slayton. Very excited about this. The Mountaineers have trailed since the game against Louisville a year ago, only a minute 47 when Syracuse took a quick 7-0 lead. They find themselves behind before they have the football now.
Something to keep in mind, we talked about in the open, is Rich Rodriguez saying it's very important to survive the initial surge of this game. What he meant was not just his defense, mainly his offense. When Pat White and company get on the field, you don't want to make a crazy mistake with all that momentum and how crazy this Louisville defense is going to come out of the gate early in this game.
Todd Flannery, who's lost his punting job, will kick off, and he kicks it short. The ball is still being fumbled by the up man, who finally is able to fall on it at the 25-yard line.
I just talked about it. You don't want to lose the game in the first 5 minutes of the game, making silly mistakes.
Composure. That would have been silly. Brad Palmer, back up tight end there, had his hands on it, but I think he felt the rush coming down very quickly. We'll keep an eye on Darius Raynaud. He's been the playmaker, but Brandon Miles, the receiver, not very productive. They want the senior to break out tonight.
If Louisville puts a lot of pressure up front, it's going to be up to Raynaud and Miles to try to beat some one-on-one matchups on the outside.
First snap, the leading rushing offense in the country. Pat White gives it to Slayton. Slayton able to turn the corner. You can see how quickly he can gain 6 yards.
Mike Cassidy telling me last night that he's going to unveil a defense. These are defensive tackles that are typically on the inside. They've moved them out. They've walked their linebackers up tight. The safeties are going to be up tight. They have 9 defensive players up at the line of scrimmage to stop Steve Slayton and Pat White. It's a defense that he hasn't coached since the 2001 season against Antoine Randall.
See if it works. White has the ball. He's chased down short of the first down marker. It'll be third and very short as his Louisville defense rises up there. Earl Heyman, a nice stop for the Cardinals. Pressure on the linebackers, Malik Jackson and Lamar Miles, guys who've come on as starters in the last few games and really given a playmaking spark.
Well, Smith, Miles, and Jackson, the entire group of linebackers, I think they're the best in the Big East. They're one of the best groups in the country. It's really on them tonight if they're going to stop this West Virginia running game.
You got the heavy backfield. It's Owen Schmidt, 250 pounds, and the 230-pound true freshman Maxwell Anderson. And they get nothing. The ball dropped. A fumble. Louisville believes they have it, and it is Cardinal football. Abe Brown, the linebacker, the early mistake Rodriguez feared. There was a little bit of a scuffle, and a flag is down after the change of possession. Jeremy Sheffy, the guard involved in that scrum for the football.
Dead ball. Personal foul on Louisville. Number 91. Late hit. 15 yards from the recovery of the fumble. First down for Louisville.
No, that's their leader, Amobi Okoye, the 19-year-old senior. He's supposed to know better than that.
I just got done talking about the importance of maintaining your poise on the road in this kind of game. Nice shot. Okoye gets in there to knock the ball loose. Recovery right there by Thomas, the true freshman. Rich Rodriguez has been preaching all week to his team. Maintain your composure on the road early in the game. Survive, weather the storm, and then let's go out and execute the way we know how. First time they get the ball, they fumble the football to give it right back to Brian Brom and deep in their own territory.
Went into his own man and coughed the ball up, but a great job with the Louisville defense of stuffing that play anyway. Now Brom throwing on first down, complete. Trying to get the corner there is Jawan Spillman, a freshman, hometown Louisville player, in a positive gain. So Louisville trying to build a big lead like they did a year ago up in Morgantown. This is Battle of Unbeatens, number 3, number 5. Just joining us, the biggest football game in this city's history. Aaron Andrews will join us from the field. Cold and chilly night. Wind chill down in the 20s, but a hot start for Brian Brom in Louisville.
Louisville now 10 plays, 5 runs, and 5 passes. Doing a great job of balance and mixing up the play calling.
This is Colby Smith, and the senior, tough sledding on the left side, gets to the 40-yard line. Smith, the guy who comes off his career best game, 165 yards. Big shoes to fill, Kirk, filling in for Michael Bush as you take a look at that thumb of Brom.
See how he's crossing the thumbs over, protecting the right thumb. He's making sure that the impact of the ball coming up does not do any kind of injury or any kind of harm to his thumb that he feels so good. It's a good move and a good decision.
You heard it in the Miami game when it hit the carpet. He said 6 weeks initially. He got back much faster than that. It's a great shot. Show that little trick. 3rd and short. Brom batted down at the line of scrimmage. He was looking for a Rudy on the left side. Eric Wicks. He's the guy that stopped Brom on the goal line in triple overtime to secure the win a year ago. Here's the Brom injury. It was kind of a freaky thing and a huge victory here over Miami, but a dark cloud as his right hand hit the ground right there.
Yeah, he gets an injury. Never mind how much work he put into rehab to overcome reconstructive knee surgery last year. He comes back, and then after all that work has an injury to his thumb, and he's just happy to be back on the field these last 3 games.
So a great job by that West Virginia defense, forcing a 3-and-out after the fumble, and Corey Getchie, the true freshman punter who's taken over the job in the last few weeks, boots it into the end zone. So Brom and the Cardinals unable to cash in on the turnover, but still leave 3-0 midway first quarter. Hi, the picture right here. We went a Pujols bat there. Louisville slugger plant.
Derek Jeter.
Hey, Pat White was a one-time 4th-round draft pick of the Anaheim Angels. They thought he had great potential as a center fielder. Obviously, great speed. He was Alabama's Mr. Baseball. Hit .487 in high school. He thought about it a little bit. You know, center fielder who runs great, bats left. Decided on football.
Pretty good move at this point. It's working out pretty good for him. Let's see what they do now in this second series after the fumble on their opening drive.
White gives the ball to Slayton. Very simple play, and Slayton able to turn the corner. Unusual running plays they have where the tailbacker gets the ball running parallel to the line of scrimmage and has to make the turn.
Exactly. You got to get parallel. They're trying to look for a seam. This is a different look now. And again, it's one of the things that West Virginia is trying to do is try to create a little bit of confusion up front with the offensive linemen. And this time they're trying to do it by moving their inside defensive tackles inside. See how tight they are now?
3 receivers, and White looks to throw. Pressure complete. Has a man, and twisting for pretty good gain is Darius Raynaud. He's their multi-threat guy. Usually carries the ball as a runner once or twice a game. He's their returner, and he's a slot receiver. They look for mismatches there. That was Preston Smith, the weak side linebacker, doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, and Mike Cassidy, I think, as a defensive coordinator, has an aggressive mindset. And he said that, you know, a lot of teams have not attacked this West Virginia offense. They've been intimidated by the speed. He really wants to press the issue tonight and try to force the issue against Pat White and come after him.
See if it's White's first run of the night on 3rd and 2. Yes, it will be. Takes a step, loses the football again. A scrum for it at the 30. And this time, West Virginia able to fall on it. Amobi Okoye, the big defensive tackle, able to knock that ball free. Boy, they're playing with fire here early.
Well, they're playing with fire. A great play and just great quickness by Okoye. But right now, you know, so much attention is paid to Pat White and Steve Slayton. The reason they get a chance to make so many plays is because West Virginia's offensive line is outstanding at what they do. Early in this game, they're losing the battle up front. They're overmatched against this speed. They need to make some adjustments against Louisville's front.
How about White showing the quickness there to crawl forward and get that fumble, and now he hands off to Slayton, still trying to turn the corner, and William Gay, the cornerback, 3-year starter, there to thump him. Aaron, quite a story, Coach Cassidy, in this new scheme, but also what he's been through in recent weeks.
Yeah, Chris, you mentioned, of course, he was suffering from a urinary tract infection. He said it was the first time in 31 years I've missed a practice, missed a game, was not with the team last week when they played Syracuse. And Kirk, you mentioned a great story today. Bobby Petrino, the head coach, had him write a letter. They read it to the team on Friday night. We'll give you a little bit more after this play, Chris.
2nd and 9, Aaron. Cassidy's defense will rush only 4. White misfires. He was looking for Slayton down the middle. Aaron, back to you.
Well, Chris, more about that letter from Mike Cassidy. He said he just wanted to tell the team he could envision everything about where they were, their hotel that Friday night before the Syracuse game. He could tell them he knew how well they were going to play. And just to give me a shout out, everybody tap your helmet when you get on defense, and I know you'll be thinking of me, guys.
Pretty emotional. He's got a great relationship with his players, and they really missed him, and they're happy to have him back tonight.
3rd and 9. White over the middle. It's caught. Darius Reyna just grabbed by the shoe at the last minute by Nate Harris, the linebacker. That's the kind of mismatch they look for, and they were this close to a touchdown. Instead, 26 yards.
Well, this is what everybody in America wants to see. Can Pat White throw the football? One-on-one coverage. They bring the linebacker on the outside. Linebacker staying with Darius Reynaud could not stay with him, and the speed that he has is amazing, but I like to see Pat White step in there and make a throw to his receiver.
This time, handoff right at the middle. Steve Slayton headed for the end zone. Touchdown. You don't beat him in a foot race. 42 yards, and the Mountaineers take the lead. Boy, they had him hemmed in. It was 3rd and 9. This place was rocking. Suddenly, White to Reynaud for the first down, and one play later, they're in the end zone.
Boy, it's amazing how quickly things can change. Louisville playing so well, and one completion that almost went to the house sets up a Steve Slayton touchdown run. That pass by Pat White set up the run by Steve Slayton.
Pat McAfee, still perfect, 38 for 38 PATs, an 80-yard drive, 7 plays, 3 minutes and 11 seconds, and Steve Slayton takes it 42 yards in a hurry as the Mountaineers recover their own fumble on that drive and take the lead. We'll hear from Rick Pitino, Louisville.
Hi, you guys, that was an awesome performance, but don't forget tomorrow is the big game, so we got to perform really well against West Virginia.
It's rare when a basketball game in Louisville is a tune-up for a football game, but the Cardinals Hoopsters did debut last night, an exhibition game against Georgetown College, not the Hoyas. Right now, the Cardinal football team in a 7-3 hole as West Virginia strikes very quickly. Rick Pitino joining us in the booth. We'll visit with him in just a second. This is very much a basketball and a football school right now. Mountaineers have some basketball heritage as well. Jerry West, of course.
You know, I was going to say that play felt like a fast break.
No, yeah.
And it was so, they hit a pass. The next thing you know, before you could get settled in, Steve Slayton out of the gate with a big touchdown run.
So we'll see if the Cardinals can answer. We expected a few fireworks and a few momentum shifts. This is Jawan Spillman, the freshman, breaking free up near the 35-yard line. There's another look at Steve Slayton's 10th touchdown run of the season, Kirk.
And it's just the speed. It's not even a read at this point. Even though Jackson comes down to take White, I think that what Rich Rodriguez is trying to establish is get a feel for this new defensive scheme of Mike Cassidy. And I think here in their second or third series, they're starting to get more comfortable. Instead of the read option, I think they're just going to try to run downhill with their talented running back, Steve Slayton. And that time it worked out for a big score.
Remember, Louisville unable to cash in on that early West Virginia fumble. Find themselves behind by 4, and Braun will throw on first down. Steps up, has plenty of time, looks down the field, and it's dropped by Urrutia. Throw a little bit behind him, but he had his hands on it in West Virginia territory. Talked about Rick Pitino's basketball team. A couple of very precocious freshmen. You threw into the starting lineup, and you barely survived against Georgetown College last night, huh? No concern?
That win's a win.
Okay. Are you big enough to share the spotlight with this football program and what Bobby Petrino has done? Now, this has always been a hoop school.
Well, it's new to me, and I called Billy Donovan and Thad Matta, Yeah.
And I said to the guys, how do you handle this? I'm not used to it. And he said, both of them said that, look, we're at new schools, Ohio State and Florida, new to football. They're just trying to build their program. Just treat it as a segue into basketball.
Pass complete to Colby Smith, and he stumbles as he gets up across the 45-yard line of the Mountaineers. A nice little move, but he had a lot more to gain if he hadn't fallen down.
Well, the key in this kind of play when you face pressure is just getting the ball off. West Virginia brings linebackers and they bring safeties, especially Eric Weeks, who got through. It's just a matter of Brom getting it off and dumping it to Colby Smith. Colby Smith, once he makes the catch, has linemen downfield. Very, very fortunate. If he didn't stumble, that would have been even a bigger game.
They had Corey Thompson, the receiver, at the ready to block somebody. Nice job by Danny Barlow, the guard, early in that play to spring him. Brom fires near side. He ended up throwing in traffic. Vaughn Rivers defending on Harry Douglas, who makes the catch at the 36.
You know, we've talked so much tonight about the Big East in the football conference being a lot better than I think a lot of people anticipated. You know it's a great basketball conference. Has to be one of the best. How do you size up the Big East and how you guys fit in?
It's very difficult to play in the Big East because every night, you know, every conference I've ever been in, there's 2 or 3 games a year where if you play hard, you play well, you're going to win. In the Big East, that's just not that way. You've got to bring it every night, not only with great execution, but you've got to give it high energy as well.
It's getting that way in football. There are no free passes. A very deep league that goes well beyond just these two teams.
This has caught our whole city. I mean, we're so much. I'm not a big football fan until I came to Louisville, and now I'm one of the biggest football fans in Louisville. I just absolutely love it. Bobby Petrino, to me, is one of the premier coaches in the game because I'm so energized every time I watch his team because of the style of play.
Yeah, I would guess that it's not that you need a whole lot of help in recruiting, but just the awareness of Louisville, not just for basketball, but football. I guess it goes hand in hand.
And then we throw in a little Breeders' Cup, a horse race every now and then.
Well, isn't it weird, though, that, Rick, as you know, this is a horse city. There's a timeout on the field here. It's 3rd and 5. You know, the Breeders' Cup World Championships here for the first time in 6 years. It's a mega event, a global event, and yet people are talking about football more than talking about all the equine talent across the street at Churchill Downs.
I've had 25 friends from New York City call me and said, every year they do it for the Kentucky Derby, they call me and said, I know you want Breeders' Cup tickets. I said, no, can you get us the West Virginia Louisville tickets?
Well, you know, the Breeders' Cup Classic is the timeout is still being taken on the field. Features Bernardini, a horse that's being, you know, compared by many pundits to Secretariat, Cigar, the greatest horses who've ever lived. This may be the last chance to see him run in the Classic. You excited?
I am excited. Obviously, Lava Man's a great horse, and my guy Nick Zito is going to bring Sun City, I think it is, to the Classic, and he'll have that horse ready, certainly. And Lava Man is a great horse with terrific trainer Doug O'Neill. It's a wonderful day. It's the greatest horses for every type race, and it's at the premier racetrack in America, Churchill Downs.
There's a lot to command sports fans' attention. Before we let you go, one basketball world question: that the loss of Red Auerbach, you were a Celtics coach, felt by so many people.
Red Auerbach was not only a great coach, a great man. The thing I learned the most from him and speaking with him is how he communicated with his athletes. He's the greatest communicator as a coach in the history of the game.
Brom is pressured on 3rd down, gets away and delivers complete to Douglas for a 1st down. Brom got knocked down, but showed his strength in to fight off a couple of tackles. And now, after the play, momentary scuffle, the Cardinals do have a 1st down. Rick, thanks for your time. We really appreciate it.
Great seeing you.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
That was a crucial play for Brom on 3rd and 5. Kirk, they had him hemmed in. He fought away with that upper body strength.
Well, it was interesting to see that West Virginia bringing the pressure, trying to get after Brian Brom. They feel they have to get him out of his rhythm. They brought the blitz, and he was able to fight it off.
Right, coming off the corner to stop Colby Smith for a loss is Antonio Lewis, the corner. He's one of the fastest DBs. They consider him a great cover corner, but he's pretty good in run support, too.
That's one of the things that you have to have that ability. It seems like we talk about that every week. Corners, they see the great players on Sunday in the NFL that get paid a lot of money to cover wide receivers. But there are a lot of programs at the elite level in the college game that ask their corners not only to be able to cover, but also they have to be willing to get up into the action and be physical. And West Virginia happens to have 2 guys that will do that.
It's Rudy Wide and Harry Douglas, the 2 main receiving weapons in the slot. The bottom of the formation, and Brom alertly able to call a timeout with the play clock winding down here. You don't need a delay of game penalty on 2nd and 10. So the Cardinals on a promising drive, but the Mountaineers with a 7-3 lead late in the first quarter.
West Virginia.
Well, it's been Louisville steadily marching the football. West Virginia's offense bottled up except for 2 plays, but they were 2 big plays. The third down pass to Reynard, setting up the game's only touchdown. The 42-yard romp by Steve Slayton. This is Louisville's answering drive, and they've moved to the 31 of West Virginia.
1:20 on the clock.
Get that reset after the Cardinals timeout.
Very, very big drive, obviously, for Bobby Petrino, even though it's early in this game. Just to be able to come back after their worst nightmare, Steve Slayton slipping through for a big touchdown. It's nice to see Louisville for them to be able to come back.
The late handoff to Smith, who bolts up the middle, runs over a Mountaineer, and still fights forward down near the 10. Colby Smith. His career's winding down. He's only got about 5 games to go plus a bowl. Comes off the game of his life against Syracuse and a 20-yard gain there.
Well, I think this is what Colby Smith brings to the table, is he's a complete package. And Antonio Lewis, we just got done bragging about how willing he is to come up and make a tackle as a corner. You know, the fortunate thing is at 5'10", 180 pounds, sometimes you get run over when you come up to make a play.
He was giving away 30 pounds, and he got crushed. Right back to Smith, who's run down from behind. There's Johnny Dingle, the big defensive tackle, coming around the corner. Quick guy out of Miami. Quick for his size.
Again, getting into the red zone, very important to see Colby Smith and West Virginia put points on the board. In their minds, they feel that they've not been able to put touchdowns on the board. So if you're West Virginia, you're thinking, let's try to hold them to 3 here. But I think you'll see Louisville try to get the ball in the air to their taller receiver. Mario Urrutia, or the tight end, is a good target here as well. Barnage, number 82.
It's Urrutia in motion, and he has a big height advantage on any of those West Virginia DBs. Instead, it's a delayed handoff. Flag is down as Smith plows straight ahead. Colby Smith filling the shoes for Michael Bush, the superstar running back, of course, out for the season. A broken leg, and Smith, Kirk, struggling to fill that role at times. The pressure to have to kind of be a Michael Bush.
On the offense, number 33. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
The penalty is on Smith, and you know, sometimes when you're running back, you get that football, you're trying to do too much, your head's moving around, you're not just letting it flow. And finally, he started to run more instinctively last game against Syracuse.
You know, it was interesting when he first stepped in for Michael Bush. It seemed to be a pretty natural fit. He's an experienced back. He's been around the last couple years, had a chance to play. But you're right. I think he started to press and started to force the issue instead of letting the game come to him. And then last week against Syracuse, he finally got back into his comfort zone, and we're seeing it again tonight.
Yeah, he had 165 yards in the last 34 minutes of that game against Syracuse. But it's West Virginia's dynamic duo that's found the end zone here. End of the first quarter in Louisville. Cardinals on the march, but the visiting Mountaineers with the lead. And you come back. West Main, right downtown. Look at that, Kirk.
Oh,
customized
nice.
that for us.
Where'd that baby end up? Down in the truck.
It's in somebody's trunk, I think. Chilly night here. Temperatures will be down in the 20s before this one is finished. Unseasonably cold. Folks bundled up, dressed in all black. Call for the blackout in the biggest Cardinals home game ever. This might be a 4-quarter and then some fist fight like last year's triple overtime matchup in Morgantown.
Look for the matchup down at the bottom of the screen. Taller receiver Urrutia against an undersized corner for West Virginia.
Rom on the first play of the second quarter. Well covered as receivers, and finally goes forward as Warren Young stops him for a loss.
Surprising to see Urrutia coming underneath. They actually sent the smaller, quicker receiver Harry Douglas to the corner, trying to get him in a isolated one-on-one matchup. They had it, but it's just great coverage by West Virginia, forcing Brian Brom to come off of him, tuck the ball, and try to pick up as many yards as they can. But again, it's this offense trying to put touchdowns on the board. You can see the height advantage that Louisville has with their receivers. This time Urrutia at the top of the screen.
Well, it's the height advantage is all Urrutia. 6'6" factored into that advantage. And now with 5 wide receivers, Brom fires over the middle. It's complete. Very short gain. Corey Thompson, the sophomore, only his second catch of the season, got back inside the 10. but it's not enough.
Great job by West Virginia. Jeff Castile realizing that if there's any area that they want to try to attack them, it's trying to get to the ball to the tall receiver. That's who he's looking to go to, but he's got 3 white jerseys all over him, forcing Braum to come underneath, and again, forcing a field goal for Louisville. Great defense there by West Virginia.
And once again, a red zone breakdown for the Cardinals. Carmody and only missed 1 all season long. And he is 2 for 2 tonight, but not the ideal result for this Louisville offense. And West Virginia, White, Slayton, and company will get the football back up 7-6. Part of this Louisville football legacy, my friend, Lee Corso, the Sunshine Scooter with that jet black hair and those sideburns, getting it done in the early 70s. We'll visit with him on the phone when we come back. 7-6 Mountaineers.
Hi, I'm Tyler Florence.
The ball for almost 11.5 minutes so far in this first half. The statistical edge in every category. All 3 possessions, they've been in West Virginia territory, Kirk, but 1 punt and 2 field goals. It's the Mountaineers with the lead.
Well, one of the better ways to slow down Steve Slayton and Pat White, keep them on the sideline. They, as you said, big advantage, time of possession. Done a nice job controlling the clock with the balanced offense. But we saw Steve Slayton get out. We saw Pat White throw the football in their last possession. We'll see how this Louisville defense tries to retaliate against that balanced look from the Mountaineers that last drive.
Big storyline tonight, not just who wins this game, but how impressive is the winner to the folks watching around the country. It's taken by Vaughn Rivers. And the Mountaineers should, coming into this game, have a pretty clear edge in special teams. Louisville gets nothing out of the return game. Not much on that return from Rivers. And West Virginia will start at the 22-yard line. But first we check in with Reese Davis, a 30 and 30 update. Reese?
All right, Chris, first round of the Tour Championship is in the books. No Tiger, no Phil Mickelson, but Retief Goosen does have a share of the lead with Joe Durant at 2 under par. Coverage on ESPN. The second round starts tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern time. And the Jaguars are going to stick with David Garrard at quarterback rather than Byron Leftwich, even though Leftwich says he is healthy enough to play. Sports Center after the game, ESPN News all the time, Chris.
Reese, thanks. First down for West Virginia. White hands it to Slayton. Never really gets going up the middle. Good job by Okoye. Is at an active night. He's the guy that forced that fumble early. A flag is down. We'll welcome in the Sunshine Scooter. Kirk, it takes a big game for our partner to stay up past 8:30 at night. This is a big game.
You sure this is him? I mean, is he still awake?
Mr. Corso, this must be a special occasion, sir.
It's the University of Louisville, the team that gave me my chance. That's why I'm staying up late tonight.
Just had a personal foul, Scooter.
The second of the night for Louisville, a dead ball. But Trino demands to know who that personal foul is on. We'll try to track that down. We know Coach likes to see this.
That's no question about it. But, you know, so far from what I've seen from a coaching standpoint, you know, I think Louisville they got to stretch the field. They got to go up deep against those corners and get the West Virginia guys back. They throw nothing but underneath cuts, which is good. They move the ball, but they're not scoring any points. They got to go over the top more, I think Louisville does. And West Virginia might have won this game real early when they had that fumble and it was 3 and out and they stuffed them. That was big. And then, Kirk, you guys watch one thing. The only time West Virginia has been in a pro set with 2 backs, they gave the ball to Slayton, and White went to the outside. Everybody followed him, and boop, right up the middle for a touchdown. I thought that was a nice gimmick by West Virginia.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how each week, Lee, different defenses come up with different theories and schemes to try to slow down this running game from West Virginia. Mike Cassidy's coming up with a plan that he used at Illinois in 2001 against Antoine Randall to try to help him tonight.
Well, I like also the fact that they got 8 in the box, but I think eventually that West Virginia is going to really hurt Louisville throwing the football because White is a better passer than people give him credit for. You see that split backfield now? That's exactly the same thing they did before. There he goes. Every time they get into the split backfield, they do a little counteraction, and there goes White up the middle. I bet you they haven't done that this year because that's got Louisville confused.
Speaking of new wrinkles, we got a guy doing analysis in Orlando from a game in Louisville. That's a new wrinkle for us. Hey Lee, I know you're excited. You enjoy College game day at College Station, and you can go to bed now. It's an early wake-up call.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me on, you guys. I'll see you.
Get to sleep. Get the blue PJs on and shut her down.
And the white socks, sweetheart.
All right. See ya.
All right, 15 yards for Slayton. He's got 69 on the night. Most of them coming on that touchdown. White tucks it, runs it to midfield. Jukes, waits for a block. Tries to get the corner. And is dragged down at the 35-yard line by William Gay after 21 more yards. And now a flag flies well after the play. Starting to get kind of chippy here. You could see the quicks of White as he took off.
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit, 79, 15-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, they got the big freshman guard, Greg Istiner, after the play, and so it's 3 personal fouls now. 2 on Louisville, 1 on the Mountaineers.
Well, one thing that they were able to do this time in getting Pat White loose, Chris, is great blocking from the center. Dan Moses, who is the key every single time West Virginia plays. Watch his block in the middle. Watch how he gets upfield. Design quarterback draw. Opens up a huge seam and a great seal there by Moses to open it up, but it comes all the way back after the penalty.
It was a dead ball penalty, so it's still first down, and they bring Gay off the corner with pressure, but once again, it's Slayton up the middle. So creative ways for both defenses to find pressure.
The thing that I think is great about what West Virginia does in their spread offense, and Lee touched on it a bit there, is how powerful, how physical they can be in their offense. You know, they'll mix in Owen Schmidt, and they can run with their offensive linemen, and that's where they got the penalty right there with the late hit. But they are a physical group, and they show a variety of formations and how they can try to attack you.
White bobbles it and is swarmed under for a loss. Willie Williams, the junior, came in, and White disrupting the timing of the play by bobbling the snap.
The bad snap, but bobbling the snap didn't help, but that was a draw coming to the left right towards us. That's why he didn't have any time. I know bobbling the snap is bad, but all the linemen waited for a beat before they took off out to get in front of Steve Slayton. So there was nobody there to stop the defensive lineman from coming down on Pat White.
Can White conjure something on another big third down? 3rd and 12. Fires near side on a rope, incomplete. Good job. Pass intended for Miles, but Gay got there just to bat it away.
Really a close call here on 3rd down. It's nice to see William Gay starting to play the way you expect him to play as a senior. He's one of the better cover corners in the Big East. He came around that time, Miles, and got his arm on the football to knock it away. And that's a tough play when you have so much speed coming back to the receiver. It's easy to get your body in the way, but William Gay that time made a nice play for the Cards to force the punt.
It is the first punt for Scott Kozlowski, the freshman. And they'll try to pooch it down in there, a whistle before they snap. Looks to be against the Mountaineers. It'll give Kozlowski a little more room to work with, trying to knock it down there. He was headed to his right, that rolling punt that's become so popular.
See it everywhere.
Ball start on the offense. Number 49, 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
How much did that dead ball personal foul hurt this West Virginia team by Isdana? Big play by Pat White, ball deep into Louisville territory, comes all the way back to midfield and stops the momentum that Rich Rodriguez had thought he created.
Yeah, just the senseless kind of penalty.
Yeah.
After the play's over, just, you know, a little too much testosterone, and it kills a drive. Louisville has done almost nothing on the punt return all year long. Kozlowski hits a line drive. It's dangerous down there. Ball can bounce off a man. There's a scrum for it at the 25. Did it hit a Louisville player? Well, it's Louisville football. They have signal Louisville football. It was Trent Guy, the freshman return man over there for the Cardinals. Now the Mountaineers say they've got it. It was signaled already once by the officials, Louisville football, and that's what it'll be as the Cardinals avert disaster there. That rolling punt is dangerous because sometimes the guys in the return team can't see it very well.
They can't see it, and you know, this is one of the things that guys got to be saying, you know, get out of the way, and I really think the ball hits Smart coming back there, and it is a scrum there to try to pick up the football.
Cardinals dodge disaster there. They'll get the football down by a point.
Brian Brom leading the troops back on, and remember, Brian Brom just 3 games into his season since having surgery on that right thumb, and he was telling Chris Kirk and myself, feeling as close to 100% as it can, not having a problem gripping the ball, but you see his hands in that pouch right there. His biggest concern tonight, guys, was the cold weather. Of course, wind chill in the 20s tonight, and he was saying it kind of tightens up a bit. He's been on the sidelines and observing him, keeping his hand very close to the heater, Chris.
So are we. First and 10 in the second quarter. Brom in the shotgun. Rolls to his right. Goes deep downfield. Has a man wide open. And it's Harry Douglas who just stumbles in the open field at the 35 of the Mountaineers. Douglas got wide open over the middle. Gains 40 yards, but it could have been more. Guys are just stumbling on this field for no reason tonight.
Well, they said they wanted to attack Quentin Andrews. He's right here, the freshman. This is a great play. Great call by Bobby Petrino. Roll everything to the right. And right here, you have Harry Douglas faking to the outside and going to the middle of the field with all the momentum of the play going to the defense's left. Harry Douglas fakes to the outside, comes back to the middle, and they go after the freshman, who's going to be a great player, but he's still a freshman. And that time, they were able to attack him downfield.
4th catch already for Douglas tonight. And he gets the ball on the reverse, flips out of a tackle, center steps, and makes positive yards out of a play that could have been a big loss. Antonio Lewis there to make the stop, but he slipped out of the reach of Eric Wicks.
Eric Wicks having a good game tonight. He and John Holmes, their 2 outside linebackers, been all over the field. Very active, and they just seem to come up with a big play when this defense has needed it tonight.
They call it the bandit, the position that Wicks plays. They moved him down from the spur safety. A lot of quickness on the field for the Mountaineers. Those 5 defensive backs. Urrutia to the bottom of your screen. And 2nd down and 8. Brom looks to the right, flips it in the flat. Nice attempt by Colby Smith at a one-handed tackle, but the pass batted down. Matt Magro, the middle linebacker, there in coverage. The NBA season continues Friday night. 2 games on ESPN. 8 Eastern, King James and the Cavaliers. LeBron's a big football fan. Look to get out of the gates quickly, establish themselves as a finals contender against Tim Duncan and the Spurs at 10:30 Eastern. Ray Allen on the Sonics trying to bounce back from a disappointing season against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. NBA opening week game time on ESPN Friday. Available in high definition. 7:30 Eastern. The Kia NBA shoot-around. So 4 possessions, 4 times in Mountaineer territory for the Cardinals. It's complete. Far side, first down at the 16-yard line. It's Mario Urrutia beating Antonio Lewis. And Brom right on target.
Finally able to get Urrutia involved in getting the ball to him downfield, and they actually had pretty good coverage. But one thing that Brom will do when he's healthy is put the ball on the money, and he actually puts it away from Antonio Lewis. Typically on an out cut, Chris, he wanted to throw it towards the sideline. The defender was towards the boundary. That was a good throw.
Anthony Allen somersaults a defender inside the 10-yard line. A battle for the football down there. See Allen, 230 pounds. Why they consider him the back of the future here. Good agility.
They really feel that he fits the mold of what they like to have as a back. You go back to Eric Shelton, Michael Bush, even Colby Smith runs pretty. He's a powerful runner for his size. And Anthony Allen is as a freshman, very intelligent, great hands, 6'2", 230 pounds.
Deontay Taylor, the fullback, leading the big guy, headed for the corner. Touchdown, Cardinals. So Louisville answers, a nice looking drive, and the freshman Anthony Allen finds the end zone. Tapping the 75-yard 6-play drive. Carmody knocks it through. Yeah, Breno Giacomino, Kirk, he's a tackle. They moved to tight end, instrumental in that play.
Yeah, he had a great block. There were two really good blocks here. This offensive line tight end right here, the tackle, both of them able to spring it loose. Watch the blocks and watch, I think, how Allen's able to get free. Look at the seam there. Outstanding. And your man here, who they ended up moving Giacomini, they moved from tackle to tight end. My gosh, does he do a good job taking on John Holmes and then pushing up to the next linebacker, and great vision from the freshman to cut that back to the end zone.
And Deontay Taylor, little pop to him too, the senior 240-pound fullback, did his job by beating the linebacker head on, and Louisville retakes the lead here.
And there's Louisville, an offense that's been struggling in the red zone, and we're seeing it again tonight, this time getting it into the end zone instead of settling for a field goal. And we're seeing a couple backs here tag teaming, Colby Smith and Anthony Allen. One a veteran, one a young freshman. Both complement one another very nicely.
When the smoke clears here, Louisville will put West Virginia behind for the second time tonight. Again, the Mountaineers coming into this game trailing only a minute 47 all season long. Face a deficit again. Inside the 5. And now trying to slip free, but he stopped at the 20. Good special teams tackle there. West Virginia answered the last time. And we're faced with a situation, a deficit. See if Slayton and White can do it again.
And now you have the crowd back in the game for the first time since very early. Remember, last time it got really hostile and loud. Pat White hooked up with a nice throw to Darius, one of the great receivers, Darius Raynaud, and the next thing you know, Steve Slayton quiet the crowd with a big touchdown run. We'll see what happens here.
Cardinals bring pressure up the middle. White has to deliver quickly. It's complete to Raynaud. Raynaud finds a seam. Darius Raynaud to midfield. Finally run out of bounds at the 40. That's what this offense does. Looks for mismatches and then uses speed. Raynaud got a nice block by Rayshawn Bolden, and he didn't need much.
One of the things that Pat White does after the snap is make a lot of decisions. This is all done by Pat White. What a cushion. This is a play that the offensive linemen think is a run. He comes off the run on his own, throws to the bubble to Raynaud, and this is what Raynaud does. He is a tailback that plays receiver. They want to get him the ball in space. They did it perfectly, but give Pat White all the credit for his decision to get the ball thrown to the outside to his receiver.
Keep an eye on the slot. Bottom of your screen, that's Nate Sowers, a backup quarterback they bring in the game. Maybe as a diversion, and they hand the ball to big Owen Schmidt. 250-pound fullback barrels up the middle. So they showed something in Louisville, but didn't use the backup quarterback in the slot there.
No, that is triple option there with Schmidt. But this is nice distribution, getting the ball to the outside. A little shake there, little Allen Iverson-like move there with the crossover and with a little shake from the shoulders. And those safeties, when you get the ball in space against these West Virginia running backs and receivers, it's tough to defend.
Slayton finds the seam, spins for a first down. Still fighting for yardage and inside the 20. He's special. I know a sophomore has never won the Heisman, and he's probably not going to win it this year, but many people believe that Slayton, if he has a showcase game tonight, should be a finalist and maybe the favorite next year.
Well, I think that there's one thing that we know is with Adrian Peterson down, it becomes a great debate about who's the best back in the country. I've been saying for the last few weeks that it's this guy, number 10, Steve Slayton. What unbelievable quickness, the lateral movement off the jump cut. You have got to be able to contain him because in space, he's impossible to contain, to be able to stop.
You see Brandon Sharp, the safety, a look of frustration. And now it's White showing his quickness. Sharp unable to corral Slayton on that run, just shaking his head on the ground as Slayton motored away.
The spread offense gets a reputation for being a finesse offense, but the one thing that Rich Rodriguez emphasizes is they are a physical offense, and when Owen Schmidt gets into the game, that's what they become. He's just going to lead. That's an isolation play for an I formation team.
White knifing down near the goal line. Got down to the 1-yard line, just that quick burst.
I apologize there, Chris. They got the regular speed that they have on this offense, the Indy and the jet. Right now, they're in the jet.
They turned up the tempo. White leading to the end zone, touchdown. That quickly, West Virginia has tied this game.
Well, that's how you answer.
Yeah.
6 plays, 81 yards. Rich Rodriguez electing to go with, again, his jet series. Get to the line and get after it. Put points on the board.
Petrino. Shot. Mike Cassidy is defensive coordinator. They got some things to button up there. And McAfee with the PAT. And as West Virginia regains the lead. It only took them 2:22. 81 yards in 6 plays. As the jet tempo in the shadow of the Louisville airport puts the Mountaineers back on top. We got a good one in Louisville. Number 3 versus number 5 with the lot on the line. Week in the world of thoroughbred racing with the Breeders' Cup World Championships. $20 million in purses. 8 World Championship fields here in the Ville. Tonight it's football, and this is football weather for the blackout crowd. Papa John's. And Goldberg has joined us in the booth. Of course, he's in town, part of our Breeders' Cup coverage, but Hank, also living in Miami, has watched Big East football for years. Juwan Spillman takes it at the goal line for Louisville. And that return game continues to generate not very much. Hank, when Miami and Virginia Tech, who play down in the Orange Bowl this weekend, when they left this conference, what did you think? What did the folks in Miami think would happen to the Big East?
They thought it was going to fall apart. Obviously, they were wrong. And this game is certainly proof of that because it's very competitive. It's terrific football. We used to have games like this in Miami, I remember.
Well, they'll come back. They'll come back.
I know, you're really for Miami.
Yeah, well, they'll come back eventually. I want to know, football tonight, horses on Saturday. What are you more excited for?
Well,
don't ask him that.
Wait a second. I'm excited about this, but Saturday is
That's
like
big.
8 bowl games all in one day.
Yeah.
Rom steps up, avoids the corner blitz, throws downfield. It's caught by Arudia. At 6'6", he beat 5'10" Antonio Lewis on the jump ball. Big gain down to the 40 of the Mountaineers. Back and forth we go.
Ball is underthrown, and it's a good job of adjusting, but with the size of Urrutia, anytime you put it up in the air, you want to miss short and give him a chance to adjust by seeing the ball, and there it is. Lewis at 5'10" cannot match up with Urrutia at 6'6", not to mention he has a basketball background, Chris. He's very comfortable going up and making a catch up high in the air.
36 yards. He was number 2 in the country on yards per catch coming in at more than 19. Now they flip it up to Smith, who gets a couple of blocks and spins down near the 30.
I feel bad for these defenses right now.
Both are off balance.
Oh, my gosh.
Hank, let me ask you, you talk to fans all around the country. They're watching this game tonight. Fans of Ohio State, Michigan, and Auburn and Florida, waiting to see not only who wins this game, but how good the winner looks. What do you think about the last month of the season? If you had a vote, would you vote the winner of this game into the BCS championship game over some of those other teams that perhaps have a loss?
Well, I think if West Virginia wins here on the road, they'd certainly be entitled. But, you know, what do you say to the Southeast Conference teams? What do you say to Florida? You know, people in Florida, their boosters, their team feels that they're entitled if they run the table, or Auburn for that matter.
But as you said, this team is starting to show, both these teams are starting to show that this conference is a little bit deeper. It's not just West Virginia and Louisville, so it becomes the great debate. Undefeated Big East possibly versus a one-loss team from the best conference in the country in the SEC.
Does Rutgers become a spoiler?
Could be.
Could.
Very easily could be. We'll see them next week when Louisville goes on the road to Rutgers.
Saw Boo McLee on the pressure of Brom. It was incomplete on first down. Again, pressure. Brom steps up, delivers. Nice throw. It's caught. Douglas bumped out of bounds inside the 15. Nice little hands catch by the junior wide receiver from Jonesboro, Georgia.
Harry Douglas is your typical traditional Louisville wide receiver that we've seen come out of here over the last 4 or 5 years. Little move to the inside. He has the matchup. That's a tough call for Boo McLee as a linebacker to stay with the quick, shifty wide receiver in Harry Douglas. It's a matchup that Brian Brom will take every time. Great recognition by number 12 to get the ball to him.
Now they hand it off to Anthony Allen. Already 1 touchdown tonight, and the freshman muscles forward near the first down line at the 3. You feel bad for both defenses, huh?
I'm starting to feel bad for them. They don't know if it's going to be a run or if it's going to be a throw. Both teams are showing not only, Chris, that they can score, but they can score in a hurry. We have a flag down now. We'll see which way this one will go.
Now we've seen drives finished off by flags tonight already.
Dead ball. Personal foul on Louisville.
Wow.
Number 7. Dead ball. Personal foul on West Virginia. Number 8. Penalties offset. Timeout for measurement.
It was Arudia and Quentin Andrews of West Virginia getting involved in that. Offsetting personal fouls. They've had 5 personal fouls already tonight. No movement of the football, and they'll measure for a 1st and goal at the 3.
You hate to see, obviously, the personal fouls. That's part of the emotion playing on Thursday night. Number 3 against number 5. I'm sure there's a little bit of chirping going on in the field, but you don't want it to cost you a drive. You don't want it to cost you a football game. Both these teams need to be very careful and show some poise.
Hank, thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you for 6 hours of coverage.
Well, you're going to give us. You can't give a winner yet, right? You're not allowed.
Is he allowed to give it before Saturday?
Well, we have a handicapper show tomorrow, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
On the Deuce.
Okay.
What time?
You're going to see some great horses. You see a lot of speed out here. Wait till Saturday.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. Lava Man have a chance?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Bernardini, though, may be the best horse on the planet.
Yeah, Lava Man's kind of the blue-collar answer to Bernardini, who's kind of the Ohio State or Michigan of the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Now I get it.
Analogy.
There you go.
There you go.
Lava Man's like Louisville or West Virginia.
Bad odds, though, right? He'll be 2 favorite, right?
You won't get a price on either one of those.
Okay. All right.
2nd and inches. Allen pounding straight ahead. West Virginia doing a good job in there. Jay Henry, the linebacker, joining the interior of the defensive line, Wilson and Keelan Dykes. Once again, they'll bring in the chains to measure.
It's amazing to see Louisville's offense just move right down the field, and they get to the red zone, and it's almost as if things change. You know, they don't have that same aggressiveness, that same confidence that we see when they're in between the 20s and they're just moving the ball at will. And I really wonder if it's the offensive line play. You know, I know we saw last time they got down in there, Anthony Allen break free and had some nice blocks, and he found daylight and cut back to score a touchdown. But a lot of times tonight we've seen Louisville get down inside the red zone and have to settle for field goals, and we'll see what happens here on 3rd and inches.
See, they lost yardage on that 2nd down carry by Allen. It's Brock Boland, the fullback in the game. These are 2 good defenses statistically, but the offense is the clear edge in this first half. Third down as Brom asks for quiet. It's the fullback Bolin fighting ahead and tried to surprise the West Virginia defense with that quick handoff. They're going to spot the ball right on that yellow line.
I think he got it by the nose of the football. The line judge, you see his right heel spotting the ball.
Let's measure one more time. Come on out, fellas.
Come on out.
Straight play. Come on.
It is a first down by the nose of the football. That offensive line. Bobby Petrino is frustrated because his offensive lineman. He wants his offensive line. You get down into the red zone, it's time for the running back to get physical, and it's time for the offensive line to win the battle on the line of scrimmage. They've not done that for the most part tonight against West Virginia.
You got two guys on that right side, Kurt Quarterman, Renardo Foster, each more than 325 pounds. Finally, they do get that 1st and goal.
Well, Taylor's coming into the game, the fullback who had a big block the last time we saw Allen get into the end zone. He is physical. We've seen what their tight ends can do. I'm surprised that they're not trying to get it, maybe bounce it to the outside. They're going right up the middle into the strength of that West Virginia defense.
Let's see if they give the ball to number 42, Allen, the black belt in karate, the true freshman. The motion, the fullback, give it to Allen straight ahead and nothing doing. Great job by Boo McClee, the linebacker, shooting through that gap.
Just comes down to Chris. Determination, attitude, who wants it more. You work on this every day in full pads in practice, ones against ones, the goal line drill. If there's anything at this point in the season that creates excitement in practice, it's when the first team offense goes against the first team defense against each other. That creates there's a lot of pride on the line for these teams when it comes to goal line drills, and it carries over onto the field. And that's something we've seen tonight. Right now, West Virginia showed a lot of pride.
Louisville 278 yards in this first half, but each inch down here has been hard-earned. Timeout for the Cardinals as we talk about the excitement of the Big East here. There's some excitement in our studio at halftime. Reese Davis has a preview. What's coming up, Reese?
Now, Chris, on the Pontiac Performance halftime report, I know there's no shortage of interested observers in this game. We've got the most interested one, Greg Schiano of Rutgers, in studio with us, taking charts and notes on the front of the big screen here. We'll also look ahead to the Breeders' Cup over the weekend and deliver the Pontiac game-changing performance of the week. It's all coming up at halftime in just a few seconds. He's figured out how to stop both teams just in the first half.
Wow, he's a good defensive mind, Coach Schiano, and he'll have an up-close look at the Louisville Cardinals on the banks of the Raritan, one of the bigger home games in Rutgers history. New Scarlet Knights team with Ray Rice and company.
I love them. They've been fun to watch this year, and if Louisville survives this game, I wonder if they'll have a hangover going on the road the next week like we saw with Clemson after beating Georgia Tech and then going to Blacksburg. Whoever wins this game needs to forget about it in a hurry because there's still a lot of football to be played by both these teams. I personally think 2nd and goal is the time to try to get, second and goal is the time to try to get play action. If you're not going to be able to hammer it in there, try play action and find the tight end.
It's Anthony Allen. Again, the big physical freshman who gets the call. And nothing doing. That time it was Jay Henry, the linebacker, shooting the gap. So it's been McClee and Henry finding gaps in the offensive line. Another timeout taken and blowing up these plays. They can't do anything up the middle now.
You know, you see a 3-3-5 and you think, well, it's about athleticism and getting more speed on the field. But what we're seeing down inside this 5-yard line is a team that has skill, who can find a lane and find the ability to penetrate and get in there and knock down a ball carrier. And that's a guy that, talking about ball carriers, Louisville would love to see Michael Bush in that lineup, of course, out for the year with an injury.
Yeah, it was the game against Kentucky right off the bat, and that changed the complexion of this season for Louisville. They lost a true superstar. You can see it's kind of grisly against the Wildcats in a rivalry game. That right ankle broken, so disappointing for Bush. And guys have had to step in and fill those big shoes. Colby Smith's had some quality plays. He's the senior from Tallahassee, closing out his career. And there's the future, Anthony Allen, who reached the end zone. But lately, it's those plunges up the middle and nothing doing. They could use an explosive player like Bush down here, or maybe a pass.
There's no doubt about that. Michael Bush, I like to just see that he's still involved. Saw him yesterday at the facility. I think he had a chance to speak with the team last night about the importance of this game. I'm sure an emotional moment for him. And EA, I know we talked about what it might be like for him. Pretty dramatic event last night.
Yeah, you know, nobody would really confess about what was said, but they did in fact say a huge night. Michael Bush getting in front of everyone, very emotional. Yes, there were some tears, and everyone very receptive about what he had to say on the sidelines. Guys trying to pump everybody up.
Yeah, he at first didn't want to do that because he feared he might be too emotional, but he was talked into it. 3 receivers. Arudia comes in motion now. Brom will keep it up the middle, trying to pick his way. Doesn't get to the goal line. It was a Brian Brom run on the mandatory 2-point conversion in triple overtime a year ago. Stopped short just like that. That led to West Virginia's victory, Kirk. They tried to run him again.
Well, Louisville averages 39 points a game, so let's not be too critical of what they're doing this year. They're 5th in the nation in points scored. But it's amazing to see them 3 tries inside the 5-yard line. Twice they went to the 3 tight end look, tried to overpower West Virginia. That didn't work. That time they had to go to a 3 wide receiver look that just spread the West Virginia defense out. Tried to go with a trick play, and keeping of all people Brian Brom with the ball in his hands to try to run. And 3 tries, and 3 times they weren't able to get the ball in the end zone.
And that's the last 5 runs that have produced 3 yards. Number 1 Ohio State still on a collision course with Michigan. Will take on the Zucker's Illinois team. And this is a huge showdown in the ACC. And who would have thought this before the season? Wake Forest, so much adversity, but just a single loss. And Tom O'Brien's Eagles visit Wake Forest in primetime.
I think Boston College and Tom O'Brien, one of the great stories this year in college football. Considering what Tom O'Brien lost on his defense, lost a lot of leadership, a lot of great players, and to see that they have a shot to get to the ACC title and a BCS bowl bid, Tom O'Brien should be up for National Coach of the Year for the job that he's done if he goes on to win the ACC. Hidden gem in Boston.
Well, on 4th down and 1, they can field goal. They do try to accommodate. I'm sorry, I didn't see the kicker come out until he trots out late. So what a stand by West Virginia once again. The same thing that created a close game against Cincinnati. Louisville unable to convert in the red zone, and a tough angle for the lefty here. 18 yards, and he just sneaks it through.
For a guy that likes to score points, that was a tough one to give up on and have to settle for points.
You see Brom's reaction.
Brom and Bobby Petrino, you know they wanted a touchdown.
Kirk, they have 279 yards in this first half. They haven't been stopped at all, except by red zone execution. But credit West Virginia's defense. They are not known as a physical defense, but they use quickness on the goal line to get the job done.
4 out of 5 drives, they've been able to put points on the board. Unfortunately for Louisville, as you said, Chris, it's been all about not executing in the red zone, which is number 1 thing that Bobby Petrino pointed out to us is the importance against Pat White and Steve Slayton of putting touchdowns on the board because of how quickly the Mountaineers come right back and score, as we've already seen a couple times.
And they did by using some timeouts down there, give themselves a chance to do something before halftime. 96 seconds away. There's almost a feel of unease in the stadium in there because they know every fan here, the Cardinals should be farther ahead. These should be, from their point of view, touchdowns, not field goals. I think they're lancy here.
What's funny is they're kicking off to a team that's number 1 in the nation in rushing offense with 319 yards. You think, well, they're a running team. Minute 36, they're going to kill the clock. Not so fast, my friend. They can score and move the ball so quickly. They're going to try to probably get points here.
And Flannery, a very short kickoff. It is fumbled and picked up by Raynaud. He's dangerous. Oh, and now he fumbles the football. It's a scramble at the 25. What a crazy kickoff play here. If he hadn't fumbled the ball, if he could have gotten the corner there, had a long way to run. The ball just pops loose. Mountaineers get it back. Aaron Meckstroth falling on the ball. A big play for the Mountaineers special teamer.
My Home Depot coaching adjustment might be for West Virginia to catch the kickoffs.
Look at this. I mean, that was fumble 1. If he had this.
Oh, my goodness. They are so fortunate there. That's the second time a short kickoff has caused West Virginia problems in just handling the football.
Clock running in the change of possession. New rule. Cardinals show pressure and bring it. Slayton brought down. Great job by Nate Harris. The middle linebacker showed blitz and then ran down the ball carrier. Our Under Armour advantage in the first half is Steve Slayton at his 10th rushing touchdown. It was the first of the night for the Mountaineers.
Pretty good start. A little over 9 yards a carry first half.
That's just routine for him.
Yeah, he's not finished yet.
This is necessarily a kill the clock strategy with Slayton carrying the ball out to the 45. You think in most cases it's kind of a give up, give the ball to the tailback, not with this guy.
That's what I said. You're thinking it's the #1 rushing offense in the country. They can't throw the ball that great, so they're going to kill the clock. No. When you have number 10 and you have number 5, you hurry up and get the ball and try to score.
He's over 100 yards now, Slayton, after that 24-yard run. He's got it again. This time unable to turn the corner. Brought down by Okoye, the tackle, who's been active in this first half.
West Virginia out of timeout, so that becomes a big factor. Of course, in college football, going out of bounds, first down will stop the clocks, but without any timeouts, comes down to Pat White. He's got to hurry up. Look at the time.
You have to throw downfield if they want to make something out of this drive. White buys time, rolls out, and will be dragged to the sidelines with just 2 seconds to play by Malik Jackson.
After the big gain there by Steve Slayton, really should have seen Pat White put his mode, and this is one of the things that they do well, kind of acceleration, to get everybody up and try to move. There was some hesitation and a lot of time rolled off the clock. Just enough time now to see if they can get a Hail Mary, throw the ball down the field.
Nate Sowers, backup quarterback, was at the top of the screen. White will launch it down near the goal line, and it's incomplete. So a first half with more than 500 yards offense produced, but only 30 points. As Louisville will go to the locker room believing they should have a bigger lead than just 2 points. Mountaineers will get the ball to begin the second half.
There are a lot of teams who would like to have 279 yards of offense through a whole game, as Louisville has here in the first half, but only 16 points after the field goals they had to settle for.
Aaron is with Rich Rodriguez. Aaron?
Well, Coach, you got to tell us, what was the key in stopping Louisville there at their goal line?
Well, we're doing a good job in the red zone. We're giving up a couple 2-minute big plays defensively. We got to bunker down on that a little bit. And then offensively, we got to execute a little bit better. We have a good beat on what they're doing. Our guys are playing hard, but we certainly got to execute better in the second half.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right, they'll be.
You could win a trip to the national title game.
Steve Slayton headed for the end zone. Touchdown. Deontay Taylor, the fullback, leading the big guy, headed for the corner. Touchdown, Cardinals. White leading to the end zone. Touchdown. 18 yards, and he just sneaks it through. So an exciting first half, 30 minutes to go, everything on the line for these Big East unbeatens. Louisville moving the ball all over the field, but having to settle for 3 field goals. It's West Virginia, Kirk, a pair of long touchdown drives, 80 and 81 yards, but on the road here tonight, only 27 plays run for West Virginia. They average almost 9 yards a play, but they're not getting the football much.
Well, that's one thing that's been exciting to see is Louisville's done it one way where they've had balance. They've been able to come up with some opportunities, but they've not been able to cash in the red zone. And you're right about West Virginia. It seems like every time we turn around and watch what they're doing, they're able to put points on the board in a hurry. But our coaching adjustment, as I said, is what else do you say other than, guys, just field the kickoffs? You know, why make it interesting? Why even think about fumbling? Raynaud here is such a great player, trying to create, fumbles twice on one kickoff. Just get the ball back to number 5 and number 10. And the thing that I've been blown away with, Chris, is Louisville was determined to stop West Virginia from running the football. They've not been able to slow down that combination of Pat White and Steve Slayton.
Slayton 108 of those rushing yards in the first half and a touchdown. Combined, they have 511 yards, and Brohm will have to hope his defense get the ball back. You can see that thumb taped up for the second half. That's new.
I just, Chris, want to reiterate to fans who've been watching this game, we've waited all year for it. We had a great first half. Don't forget what's at stake for these two teams. A chance to stay in the picture for the national championship. Still, both teams have that opportunity starting this second half.
It's Mark Zucconi kicking off, and Reyna, will he make the adjustment, hold on to the football?
All right.
Doesn't get back to the 20, but doesn't fumble.
Held that ball.
Aaron, what do you got?
Chris, I spoke with Bobby Petrino on his way out from the locker room. I said, hey, what do you look for here in the second half? He says, it's easy. Well, since Louisville's on defense, we'll talk about that first. He said, how do we stop Pat White, Steve Slayton? All 11 guys need to get to the football, and we're not doing that. Now, for offense, he said, we simply need to score when we're in the red zone, for goodness sake. And he said, how do we do that? We got to block these guys better.
Comes down to the offensive line, Aaron. It's an attitude up front, and they're getting whipped by that West Virginia D-line in the red zone.
Mountaineer football. And right away, they go to number 10, Slayton. Finds a crease. So dangerous once he gets past that line of scrimmage. William Gay on the tackle. Quick 20 yards.
This is a triple option when you see two backs in the backfield for West Virginia. This is the read right here. And the read will dictate whether or not Pat White is going to hold the football or give it. This time, he clearly sees the read, makes a good decision. If the defensive end would have collapsed down, he would have pulled the ball, taken it to the next level, and then had a pitch back in Owen Schmidt.
They show pressure. Slayton has it running left. They block the cornerback. A flag down well behind the play. The ball's loose. Louisville has the football. Another flag flies after the fumble recovery. So two different penalties here. And the fumble by Slayton. It was Lamar Miles, the backup linebacker who's taken over as the starter the last couple of games, who recovered that fumble, but now the Big East officials will sort out these two flags. The first flag was behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding on West Virginia, number 76. The penalties decline. There was a fumble on the play. It was recovered by Louisville. Then there was a dead ball, personal foul on West Virginia. 15 yards. First down.
So Latarius Thomas forces the fumble. Lamar Miles recovers it.
Very similar to the way this game started. West Virginia fumbled on their third offensive play, and now they start the second half. There's a holding call that'll be denied. A good job by Louisville stripping it loose. That time Thomas, the true freshman, coming in from behind, and a late hit to give Louisville 15 more yards heading the other direction. And they have the ball now in the Mountaineer territory.
We said there'd be a lot of momentum shifts in this game, just as there were last year. Cardinals pump fake, and they hand it up to Smith in the middle. Smith bursting forward, muscling ahead for about 13. And the lights in the stadium suddenly got very dark. We've lost power on a lot of the lights here in the middle of that run. It's not your TV set. The power surge offensively on the field. We blow a circuit here?
I think we've had a lot of offensive firepower tonight, but that was interesting. Right after Colby Smith gets the ball,
this wasn't what they had in mind with the blackout.
The blackout literally about to take effect here at Papa John's.
They're going to play on. We can fix those cameras, make it look nice and bright for you, but the lights are about half of what they should be at this point. Brohm in the shotgun. Has time, and now it's all over. But he still escapes and finally is brought down. Finally, Keelan Dykes, the defensive tackle, got him. Eric Wicks was there quickly, but Brohm shakes out of his tackle.
Wicks gets in there to apply the pressure, but it's just relentless attitude up front from West Virginia. We've seen him time after time come up there and make plays. These lights,
we're losing more of them.
One row at a time, continue to go down. It's a backyard football field now.
After the 10-yard loss, 2nd and 20. Brom in the darkness finds a receiver who loses the football. West Virginia has it at the 11. Things are getting downright wacky in the third quarter here. Jimmy Riley made the catch, only his 3rd of the season. Vaughn Rivers caused him to cough it up. So we've got lights out here. We've got 2 turnovers in the first 2.5 minutes.
They're going to send just 3 vertical receivers trying to pick on the free safety. He gets caught up in the middle. Andrews. Now it's just a matter of a question of whether or not he had possession of the ball, and they're going to obviously take a look at this. But a great throw that time, getting it into Riley. The strip comes in from behind by Rivers.
Riley, a senior who's waited a long time, had his first 2 career catches this year. Known for his good hands. Did he have it long enough for possession?
I think he did. It looked like it. It looked like he had possession. He secures the football. Took almost 3 steps, it looked like. So I think he had possession, but it's a good call by the booth to take a peek at it.
You feel for Riley, Kirk. I mean, this is a guy that's Youngstown, Ohio. He's been a special teamer, waited his turn his whole career, a senior, and the coaches said they thought they might get him a chance to make some plays. He might be overlooked by this defense tonight. He makes a play, but not the right kind, pending the review.
Well, and we asked him, why this game? Why is Jimmy Riley as a senior going to get his opportunity? They said, well, with the way West Virginia plays defense, we're going to probably have more 4 wide receiver looks, and Jimmy Riley has hands in traffic and works well in the middle.
After review, there is video evidence that the call on the field is correct. There was a fumble. West Virginia's ball.
Good job of administering that because it was the right call. It was quick. We're able to, if our lights will hold up here, we can get West Virginia back out on the field.
Was this effective? I mean, it's good enough for the players to see. That is a backyard football field. Trust me, it's dark out here, though.
It is dark. Bobby Petrino can't get his hands on the official on the field. He's trying to yell up to the booth. He wants a piece of the boys upstairs.
The call confirmed by the booth, and the Mountaineers have it at their 12. So each team turns it over to begin this second half. Slayton slips a tackle. And Lowe loses the football. It's scooped up. Touchdown, Louisville. Malik Jackson. We may have another review here, but this is the wackiest 3 minutes we've seen in a long time. A blackout and 3 turnovers in Louisville, pending a replay review potentially, has extended the lead.
It's a matter of whether or not his knee touches before the ball comes out. Ball's out. That's a fumble. Even if they take another look, that is a touchdown for the Cardinals.
It was Brandon Cox, the defensive end, the junior from Atlanta, who made just the first start of his career, the last game against Syracuse, who forced the fumble, and Malik Jackson, their playmaking linebacker, who scooped and scored, and it is being reviewed upstairs.
They're going to take a look, Chris, but we have a really good shot of it. The first shot of it, pretty clear that the ball comes out. It's all about his knee. It's all about the knees. Watch the football come out. Now the knee touches. That's a fumble. And as I said, that's a touchdown for Louisville.
And Steve Slayton, who's made a lot of productive runs tonight, has also coughed up the ball a couple of times.
That's the last 2 times he's had the football. You hold your breath every time he touches it because you know what he can do with the ball and how quickly he can score. But you're right, last 2 touches, ball on the ground. This game's a long way from over. I'm looking forward to seeing Steve Slayton come back now.
Video confirms the call on the field. Touchdown stands.
So Malik Jackson, the touchdown stands in Louisville. We'll have a PAT try to make it a 9-point game. Big play for Jackson there. Is the blackout here, I'm talking about the light blackout, not the crowd wearing black, is that caused some of this goofiness in the players' minds? You don't
no, I don't think so.
4 plays and 3 turnovers?
Yeah, for a player, you don't even realize it. I mean, you maybe noticed it initially, but
I'm making explanations here, my friend.
It's just the fact that Steve Slayton has not held on to the football the last 2 times.
Yeah, but 4 plays, 3 turnovers.
We'll lay it on the line.
There's a flag on the conversion.
I really, honestly, Chris, cannot wait to see how Steve Slayton responds. One of the best tailbacks in the country. He's fumbled the ball, put the ball down. Louisville now up 23-14. Can't wait to see now how he comes back and see what kind of heart he has. You know he's going to fight back, and before you know it, he might be going 40 or 50 yards downfield.
Try is good.
And not just Slayton, how Pat White and this entire West Virginia team responds on a crazy night here. Remember, they've only trailed for 2 minutes all season coming into this game. Now they find themselves down by 9, their biggest deficit in a long time. Back here in Louisville, I guess Halloween was this week, so we should expect, strange and eerie things. With the lights partially out here just after halftime, the smoke cleared. We've had 3 turnovers. Mountaineers got the football. Slayton coughed it up. And Louisville gave it right back after the catch. The fumble by Jimmy Riley. And then Slayton, his very next carry, coughs it up again. And Malik Jackson scoops and scores. Cardinals 23-14. Go down to Aaron Andrews with more on the real blackout, not the crowd attire one.
Well, Chris, I had a chance to speak with the stadium operations down here on the field, and they told me they have no idea why these lights went off. They said right now they're going to cool off for a bit, and they should be back up in the next 5 minutes. Now, remember, guys, it was during the summer. Bobby Petrino told the marketing department, we want a blackout. We want a big game for this West Virginia game, guys.
And he got his wish. Darius Raynaud rocked at the 20. We can adjust our cameras to make this look much lighter than it appears to the naked eye. It is a significant loss of light on the field.
Let's see if Steve Slayton, I was watching during the break, Chris, you're right about how dark it is here, but Steve Slayton having his left arm worked on, and he was wearing a sleeve like a lot of the other West Virginia players on his left arm. That was the arm where he was holding the football, and the ball came out. Now you can see working with it, trying to just kind of see if maybe he has a little bit of tingling or numbness. He's trying to get loose on the sideline right now before they put him back in the game.
He's out of the game, and Owen Schmidt, the big fullback, is to the left of White. First down at the 20. Biggest deficit this team has faced in more than a year. White dropped for a loss. Abe Brown, part of this deep defense. They just keep bringing in backups who can make plays. And let's go to the sidelines and check a look at the situation with Slayton is. Trainer looking at that left hand. Going to kind of hold his hand. Maybe get some feeling back. It's Raynaud with the catch across the 20, but it'll set up 3rd and long.
Anytime you see a ball carrier over there kind of flexing his hand and trying to rotate it around in different directions, not only is he taking that sleeve off to get his arm looked at, I don't know if that maybe caused a fumble in his mind.
Flag, Eagles shift on the Mountaineers.
From the previous line of scrimmage.
They get Brandon Miles.
Replay 2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd and even longer.
But if you lose feeling, obviously, in your hand or in your arm, you cannot secure the football the way you would like. And maybe that had something to do with why we saw the ball come loose. He continues to kind of flex his hand, trying to get that feeling back.
This offense depends so much on Steve Slayton. He can't go. This is not the same team at all. Schmidt still in the backfield. White flips it to him in the flat, and he's hit for a loss. Nate Harris there to knock down the fullback at the 6-yard line.
What's happening right now is Mike Cassidy, as a defensive coordinator, smells blood in the water. He's bringing pressure. They try to get the screen, but when Owen Schmidt out there instead of the speedster Steve Slayton, Nate Harris locked in on Owen Schmidt, and as soon as he made the catch, was there for the big hit for the Cardinals.
Harris, a linebacker who was demoted a couple of games ago, still gets a lot of snaps, makes a big play there. 3rd and 24. White will run out of his end zone and has to fight forward just to stop the bleeding here before Harris makes another tackle.
There's no question about the strategy and what Louisville did, and it's a very good call. West Virginia is uneasy. Now Pat White limping off the field. West Virginia is uneasy without Steve Slayton in the lineup. It's one thing to mix Owen Schmidt into the game, but it's another thing to rely on him every down. And that time with Owen Schmidt in, Louisville brought pressure every single snap.
The big concern now is White, who was limping badly as he got back into the bench. Scott Kozlowski to punt. Short kick, flag down, taken by Trent Guy. Trent Guy turns the corner. Guy breaks a tackle, heads for the end zone, touchdown! We'll check the flag, which came immediately after the snap on the punt. Punt coverage is 26 yards.
Legal formation. The offense. Number 49. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Back-to-back non-offensive touchdowns for Louisville, and the Cardinals have blown this game open.
Huge mistake here by the punter. All of the coverage, Chris, went to the left. The punter, Kozlowski, punts the ball. I think it came off of his foot. It comes off of his foot. It's not only did he shank it, miss it, but he misses it to his right. Our camera's left. All the coverage is off to the right. He has one man to beat. He picks a block up downfield, and it's an easy score.
Carmody there to boot it through. There was nothing right about that punt play. They had the penalty on the snap. They only kicked it 26 yards. They kicked it the wrong way, and they didn't tackle the return.
Yeah,
they talked about Louisville getting nothing in the return game all season long. That's the first real big play they've made on punt or kickoff returns.
Yeah, that is a huge error by the special teams for West Virginia. Kozlowski, as a punter, it's one thing to shank it, but to miss it in the opposite direction, that's a no-no. And Pat White, boy, oh boy, you lose Steve Slayton, and you have Pat White go down.
Can it get more nightmarish? I mean, West Virginia, it was only down 2 points at halftime. Now, in less than 6 minutes, they find themselves down 16, perhaps White and Slayton unable to go.
And it's the first time all year that West Virginia finds themselves late in a game with adversity right in front of their face. And you're on the road, Pat White, Steve Slayton injured. They've got to get them back on the field to have any chance of coming back into this game.
Mountaineers look a little bit shell-shocked. Aaron, what's the latest on Pat White as we watch the kickoff here?
To the sideline. When Pat White came over to the sidelines, trainers instantly took off his left shoe. They were pressing down on the inside of his left foot. He looked like he was in a lot of pain, telling the trainer it hurt quite a bit. And then as Louisville scored that touchdown, one of the players came over and said, "You ready to go?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." They threw his shoe back on. He's back out there. Steve Slayton, by the way, still trying to shake off that hand. We're looking for any update, guys.
Wow, Aaron, I mean, what a start to this third quarter. It was West Virginia, which had momentum, and there was a flag on the kickoff return by Renaud.
Legal block below the waist for West Virginia. Number 19, half the distance to the goal. First down.
They are unraveling now. They get Vaughn Rivers, the defensive back, with the illegal block. But Kurt, they had, some momentum really that held Louisville to field goals. They get the ball to start the third quarter. Now 2 turnovers, the breakdown of the punt, and they're in a deep hole, 16 points down.
And we're going to see about the health when they come back out, not only with Pat White, but we'll see if Steve Slayton is able to come back out here to help this offense out.
Well, it is Pat White in the center. Slayton is still on the sidelines, and Jeremy Bruce, wide receiver, is in the backfield, now motions to the slot, so no back. White, the basic play, takes it runs it. Foot looks okay as he fights forward to 9. And now, Aaron, the concern is we still don't see Steve Slayton in there.
You're right, Chris. He is still on the sidelines. He's actually holding, it looks like a roll of pre-wrap in his left hand. He's grabbing it. I was just talking to West Virginia's trainer. They said he's having a strain problem. He's lost strength in that forearm. I asked if it happened on that fumble, and they said no, way before that play, guys. Rich Rodriguez keeps looking back at him, asking him if he's ready to go in, and he's not.
Aaron, he is still a sophomore, a true sophomore. And one thing that I'm sure people are going to go down there and remind him, Rich Rodriguez, see that number 3 at the top right-hand corner next to West Virginia, that number 5 next to Louisville. This is for all the marbles, this game, and there's still a lot of football to be played down the road in the Big East, but Rich Rodriguez, to win this game, has to have number 10 in the lineup.
Now, this is for the right to kind of keep all of their goals alive. Conference, potential for a national championship game, all of it at stake tonight in Louisville now with a 16-point cushion and a banged-up offense for West Virginia. Trying to plow straight ahead for the first down. Brown to stop right there. Again, Rutgers awaiting Louisville a week from tonight. The banks of the Raritan. They'll be all revved up in the Scarlet Knights campus for the Cardinals. We'll be there. It'll be fun.
Cannot wait to see that. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Rutgers team, especially in their stadium. They're going to be fired up. But it's not just the Big East, Chris. It's the BCS.
Sure.
National championship implications.
Still no Slayton. They hand it off. They're trying to find answers. It's Jeremy Bruce, the wide receiver, who takes the handoff. They're trying to find ways to create playmakers in the running game, minus number 10 here.
They're looking into a bag of tricks, trying to look down and see who can come up with maybe a playmaking ability. The All-State BCS standings through October 29. Ohio State and Michigan at the top. West Virginia sitting there at 3. And this Louisville Cardinal team at 5. They'd get a significant jump if they end up beating the number 3 ranked team in the BCS standings.
We'll talk a lot more about that story as it develops tonight. They hand it to Schmidt, who has a first hand across the 32. Again, there was a huge comeback by the Mountaineers a year ago. They were down 17 with 10 minutes to play against Petrino's team on their home field and rallied. So now the deficit is 16 with a lot more time to go. Question, of course, is the health of Slayton, who scored those 6 touchdowns once they got behind.
Well, and it's not only that, it's scoring in a hurry. You're down 16 halfway through the third quarter, and you run the football. You're not a great passing team. Your big playability is number 10 along with 5. I don't know if 5 can carry the load. Pat White on his own.
Let's see if they begin to go to the air more. They will on first down. White fires over the middle. It's caught. Rashawn Bolden, another first down. Quick zip of 13 yards. Bolden, the lightly used wide receiver, beginning to become more of a weapon in recent weeks.
And this throw gives you an indication that Pat White, when he has time, has a very strong arm. And I just think that because we have not seen Pat White throw the football enough this year, that people underestimate how strong his arm actually is.
It's Jeremy Bruce, the wide receiver, who's jumped into the backfield position, no fumble. He's ruled down. John Russell, the safety, got him after a short gain that he grabbed him by the face mask to bring him down. There is no flag.
Sure looked like he got a hold of some of the face mask. Louisville.
Yeah.
Oh, without question.
That's the 15-yard variety, huh?
Yeah, he gets away with one there, but it's interesting, a lot of pressure. Almost every single snap, you're seeing Louisville bring some kind of pressure on Pat White.
They bring pressure from 2 guys in this play, but White sidesteps it. Gashes into the defense. He gets clobbered in the secondary at the 40-yard line. William Gay, the corner, was there, but a 14-yard gain for White.
I tell you,
he got stood up.
Well, he got stood up, but it's impressive to see the heart of this young man and what he's trying to do to lead this team back. Yeah, he got stuck, Chris, but he also got right back up and is ready for the next play. Kid's showing a lot of determination without his guy, Steve Slayton, in the backfield with him. He's carrying the load on his own at this point.
There's Gay and Harris that got him in a sandwich. First down. Give it off to Bruce. Tries to turn the corner. He's shoved out of bounds by Abe Brown. No, you're so right. They have to kind of retool their thinking now without Slayton in there.
Well, what happens is either you slip Owen Schmidt through where you catch him off guard, or you have to have Pat White either throw the ball or get loose. And it's been tough sledding since Steve Slayton has gone down with that injury. Very, very different from the offense and the firepower that we've seen all year with the combination of Pat White and Steve Slayton in the backfield together.
Now, they averaged almost 9 yards per play in the first half. About half that since Slayton went out. 2nd and 12. White on the reverse. It's Reynaud looking for the corner. And a pretty good job by the Louisville defense of staying at home. Guy is able to fight off the block. Earl Heyman on the tackle.
You said it. Good job of showing discipline considering how much pressure they're trying to apply on West Virginia. But that is the young man. There's the player that you're going to have to see come alive if Steve Slayton stays out. It's going to be Darius Reynaud, because he is a tailback lined up at receiver and probably their other playmaker outside of Slayton and White. Best playmaker outside of Slayton and White.
Motion Bruce into the other slot. Reynaud to the right of White on 3rd and 6. Has time. Retreats. White has room to run on that sideline. Cuts back. 1st down. Dropped inside the 30. He retreated way back in his own end of the field and then gets back down inside the 30 for a 1st down.
I hope people are starting to watch Pat White and really have appreciation for what this kid can do for an offense. People want to knock him and say, well, they don't throw the ball enough. He can't show the ability to throw. They haven't had to throw the football. This is a team that averages 319 yards a game on the ground, and they also score 41 points a game. Pat White showing you that he can create and make plays, both running and throwing.
Yeah, he retreated 22 yards there, then gained 8 for the 1st down.
Yeah.
Up the middle, Schmidt fighting hard, helmets and pads popping as he gets about 7 before Nate Harris stops him.
It's a completely different looking offense with Steve Slayton now. It comes down to, again, getting Owen Schmidt to grind out 5 or 6 yards at a time, and then going back to Pat White to either spread the formation out, try to get him to run, or find a matchup that he likes and throw the football.
4 receivers and Owen Schmidt in the backfield to the left of White.
It's got to be the longest drive this year for West Virginia if they end up scoring.
It's the 12th play, very methodical. Schmidt, the big guy, rumbles forward inside the 15. 8 more yards before Clay got him.
6'3", 250 pounds. Owen Schmidt, looked at always as just a compliment to the speedster Steve Slayton, former walk-on who has earned a scholarship and gives you everything that he has.
Yeah, he was from Virginia, and he sent out some tapes from a lot of schools, and one I said, no thanks. So Wisconsin River Falls is where he ends up. And then comes back here, convinces Rodriguez to give him a chance as a walk-on, and now has earned a scholarship. They've now earned 6 1st downs on this drive. So un-Mountaineer-like, slow and methodical, but a lot of urgency now. Inside 3.5 to play in this 3rd quarter. White trying to weave his way through the defense. Is finally hauled down. Caught from behind by Heyman, the defensive end. But he got inside the 10.
This is what a running quarterback can do. If you just look at how many linemen you have here and include the back, you have 6 guys to be able to block 6 guys. Typically, if you have a quarterback that can't move, you don't have that flexibility. Having an athletic quarterback makes the defense have to account for Pat White. That time, a good call to stay with the quarterback run and a big gain.
2nd and 1. White, 5 yards from a 100-yard game. Will he get it here? Yes. Owen Schmidt, the block, and what a drive by the Mountaineers. Then answer the courage question of Pat White.
Absolutely. To date, I will say that that's the biggest drive of the season for the West Virginia team. on the road. We just talked about they had fumbled twice, a lot of adversity, lost their star back in Steve Slayton. And give Rich Rodriguez a lot of credit. 14 plays, 92 yards, almost 7 minutes off the clock. Methodical, but Pat White carried his guys 92 yards into the end zone and a must score on that drive.
White digging deep. McAfee adds the point. The margin is 9. Brom and the Cardinals get the ball back when you come back.
After the knockout punch, they're trying to knock the ball
Look
loose.
How many folks are standing around. You got a whole pocket.
12. We got 12. 12 in blue trying to help Steve Slayton get back on the field. But it doesn't look real good based on the body language that we were watching during the break.
And an ugly looking kickoff is not going to roll out of bounds. They field it at the 11. That was Jawan Spillman who could have let that thing roll out of bounds. They would have gained some yardage on field position in the penalty. So Louisville, only their second possession of the second half when you come back. Then returning the short punt for a touchdown. Steve Slayton, still a group of folks looking at that left hand. But an important drive for Schmidt and the Mountaineers to close within 9. Now we'll see what Brom and company can do. Only 2:07 to play in this third quarter. They're going to throw over the middle, and Brom has a man caught. Harry Douglas, as far as I know, Kirk, is not going by Ocho Cinco like your man Chad Johnson. He's just playing on 85 with the catch.
Well, he is 85 here, and he makes a play. It's about picking up not only on the linebackers, but also the safety. Play action freezes the linebackers, and a great seam in between the corner and the safety. Number 8, Quentin Andrews, a freshman, the young man that they have come after time and time again, and they've had a lot of success throwing the ball into the seams downfield.
A productive night for Douglas with 6 catches now. In the backfield, it's George Stripling. We see him for the first time tonight. He's the speedy back, the sophomore who was featured prominently early this season, but hasn't gotten in much tonight. Incomplete.
Well, I think it's because Colby Smith has come alive, and really Anthony Allen, as a freshman, I think has proven that he is ready to handle a lot of the work. Stripling's got a little bit lost in the shuffle, but is their best receiver out of the backfield.
See turnovers. Points off him. Each here. Braun checks off, goes back into the shotgun as the Mountaineers show pressure, then back off, then bring the middle line backwards, complete over the middle once again. Jimmy Riley. Jimmy Riley atoning for that earlier fumble down inside the 15. The senior has waited his whole career to make impact plays. Had the fumble on his earlier catch, atones for it with a 40-yard gain. Good blocks by Colby Smith and Douglas there.
Well, Barnage, the tight end, does a good job of clearing. Once he clears, there are no linebackers in the area underneath. Nice job, good throw, and the thing, it gives Riley a chance to make a play, and the blocking downfield. Good hustle that time by Harry Douglas.
Up the middle, Colby Smith fights inside the 10, and you feel good for Jimmy Riley. I mean, bright lights, huge game. A senior has waited his whole life, makes a fumble, which could have been critical. Turned out to be no big deal because the Mountaineers fumbled it right back, but now gets a chance to make a positive play.
Yeah, in that play, even though he fumbled, it was a great catch in traffic. He just wasn't able to secure it, and ball came out. But that time, as you said, Chris, boy, showing it's pretty comfortable when he gets into the open field. He made a big play, and now again, Louisville down inside this red zone.
3 receivers, and they'll motion Smith out. Empty backfield on 2nd and 5. Brom, quick drop, fires near side, complete. Not much there. Trying to get Riley perhaps a touchdown. That time, Eric Ricks was spying on him.
I think Bobby Petrino thinking, all right, I learned my lesson in the first half. I tried to rely on the big boys up front to try to pound it in when I got inside there, and it didn't work out. You can see the competitive spirit of Coach Petrino. We're going to head to the 4th, and he's trying to throw the ball into the end zone now. He wants 7 points on this drive.
West Virginia really needs to keep Louisville out of the end zone, keep them to 3, because with everything on the line for these 2 Big East unbeatens, we head to the final 15 minutes. The Cardinals looking for consecutive home win, number 16. Was stopped. Biggest comeback in West Virginia history. 17 down in the final 10 minutes. Louisville's lived with the pain of that for a year. Now, once again, it's Louisville with the lead, up by 9 as we start the fourth quarter. A crucial 3rd and 2. Can the Mountaineers keep them out of the end zone, force another field goal attempt? Braun will throw to the end zone. It is called for a touchdown by Arudia. So much for Smash Mouth. They throw it to the 6'6" sophomore, the hometown kid, Arudia, who beats Antonio Lewis.
You could tell when Arudia broke the huddle, he went to the near side. The ball was on the right hash. He gets the foot down. It's a touchdown. But what was amazing to me is that Antonio Lewis at 5'10" walked up on him at the line of scrimmage against the 6'6" receiver, making it very easy. Textbook fade to the corner for the 6'6" receiver and the touchdown.
So it's back to a 16-point lead in the first play of the fourth quarter.
And he didn't give him much of a cushion. He walks all the way up, basically saying, let me see if you can beat me. And Arudia says, I have a quarterback that's going to put it over my right shoulder for an easy touchdown. Not only with the size advantage, Chris, but just a great ball by Brian Braun.
And he got that left foot in just as he caught the ball. The right foot may have been near the line, but the left foot hit, and you can see Douglas and Arudia getting the job done.
This is something different this year from Louisville's offense. We've been coming in here for years, going back to the days of John L. Smith. They've always had 4 or even 5 go-to wide receivers, going back to the Deion Branch days. This year, it's just 2. Arudia on one side, Harry Douglas on the other. And I thought that might be a potential weakness, not having that great depth. But these two have carried the load throughout most of the year, and will have to continue to do that throughout the remaining schedule.
Now the Mountaineers in deep trouble again. It's a quick strike offense when Slayton's in there. Can he return? Louisville answers the methodical march by West Virginia with their own 80-yard touchdown drive, and Aaron Andrews tells us that Slayton is set to go back in there when the Mountaineers get the football back. This is Raynaud on the fly at the 6. Has a brace. Darius Raynaud breaks the tackle of the kicker, but he slows him up enough for the pursuers to get him near midfield. Just had the kicker to beat for a touchdown and just couldn't quite get by him cleanly.
But that's exactly what they needed. I mean, it's exactly what West Virginia needed, because they typically own the fourth quarter. And it's surprising to see those numbers, because most of their starters are out against most teams once they get to the fourth quarter.
Right.
But they give up a score after the impressive 92-yard drive. They needed good field position. Raynaud delivers with the big return, and we'll see if Pat White still has the magic as Steve Slayton joins him now in the backfield, as EA said.
He is. He's to the left of White now. His last 2 carries have been fumbles, and it's been a long process of evaluating that left hand. See if he carries it in the right. It's a fake to him. White has him wide open, and he makes a nice catch. Keeps the ball in his right hand and is brought down by Gay at the 31. Well, right back in there, big impact play, but why has he been out this long?
Well, he's very tentative coming off of the fake. I think it's a great call, because he's been out the entire game, the entire third quarter. So you could see the defense loses him, thinking he's a decoy, but Rich Rodriguez electing to go right to him. He holds the ball, Chris, you said it, into his right hand after the catch.
But he used both hands to catch it. Ball down to the 31. This time it's a handoff, and he's got the ball in his left hand that time. A quick burst. EA, I don't know. It was a long diagnosis, but it seems to be okay, that hand.
I don't know what to tell you besides the fact when Louisville scored that touchdown, Steve Slayton had the football in his hands on the sidelines. As soon as the touchdown was scored, he threw it down and screamed, "Let's go," went to Rodriguez and said, "I'm in."
He's in, and he's got the ball again, running left. Turns the corner. Slayton knifing to the defense down near the 10-yard line. Is he going to come off with an injured hand and try to lead a rally here?
I like to hear amen. I mean, he's got a national championship implications in this game. I like to hear let me in the game. Good blocks, but it's the speed to the outside He outruns John Russell to the corner, turns the corner, and almost slips through to score a touchdown. What a different feel for this offense when he's in the lineup.
Yeah, makes the catch for 20 and now runs of 8 yards and 13 yards, suddenly just 10 yards from the end zone. White keeps it. Finds a crease, is hauled down from behind by Michael Adams at the 5.
It just, when you have Slayton in, not only does his speed come into play, but it opens up things for Pat White. Even though Pat did a great job on that 92-yard drive, all of a sudden this offense is predicated upon blocking angles and seams in that defensive front to clear it for Pat White. And that time he was able to go back to his comfort zone with 10 in the game to be able to find one of those seams.
Raynaud in the slot. White with Schmidt out front. Muscles into the end zone. The Mountaineers have their answer to Louisville's touchdown. A drive sparked by Slayton. And the lead is at 10 with plenty of time.
What a difference. 5 plays, 51 yards, 2 minutes and 14 seconds after taking nearly 7 minutes on that last drive. The return by Raynaud, Darius Raynaud, putting the ball close to midfield was essential after giving up another touchdown to Louisville. Big play there by Raynaud, and it's nice to see Steve Slayton in to help this offense and how quickly these Mountaineers can score.
And now down by 10, they're going to go for 2 points to make it a one-score game. Schmidt to the left, Slayton to the right, Pat White.
10 Louisville defenders, some confusion.
The snap is fumbled and the conversion fails. The ball is still loose on the ground. It could be picked up by the Cardinals, but now they just fall on it at the 15. So still a 10-point game. This crowd, though, you think this crowd is aware, remembers the comeback the Mountaineers made a year ago?
Yeah.
And there's unease here again.
Well, the crowd had so much to do with that comeback last year, but Louisville got away with that. There were only 10 players on the field. They caught a break with the errant.
Yeah, and snap bails him out. Brown gets the ball back up 10.
Welcome. Caught a break, and Bobby Petrino, he wants to win this game. He went through it last year in Morgantown. He's doing everything except suiting up and getting out there and playing. He has shown a lot of his competitive spirit tonight. Typically pretty mild-mannered on the sideline.
Well, Petrino concerned now because if his offense can't generate things, that defense right there, which is getting a tongue lash, has to go back on the field and apparently contend with Steve Slayton, who's returned. It's a short kickoff. Jawan Spillman hesitates, gets across the 20. Spillman! This has been the best night of the season for the Louisville return game. They hadn't done much all season long. They have the Trent Guy punt return for the touchdown and a nice return from Spillman there. Once again, some defense is going to have to go out there and try to solve these offenses. We've got, what, more than 800 yards offense now combined.
Well, if West Virginia's going to win the game, they're going to have to get a stop. I mean, they're going to have to come up. Somebody on their defense is going to have to come up, not only with forcing the punt, possibility of even forcing a turnover to get the ball back to Steve Slayton now that he's on the field and Pat White. But it's been a lot easier to say that from up here than actually go out and execute against Brian Brom. An offense that was struggling coming in has been in sync tonight.
They haven't been able to run the ball, so they'll throw on first down. Brom over the middle, wide open is Arudia. And the big guy inside the 40. No sitting on the lead for Petrino. An aggressive call on first down.
These linebackers from West Virginia are biting so hard on the play-action fake. Colby Smith, a little fake. Look at the linebackers come up, and what a huge gaping hole between the linebackers in the secondary and the back end. Great job, well executed that time by Louisville, and another huge first down on 1st and 10.
And Arudia, the guy averaging almost 20 yards a catch coming in. Another big night. Handed off to young Anthony Allen, a couple yards on the left side. I have to say that the Louisville ground game's been a disappointment from their point of view tonight.
It has been. They've thrown the ball tonight with Brian Brom for 338 yards. I just think, let's forget about what's been a disappointment. The play calling tonight for Bobby Petrino, 24 running plays, 25 passing plays. That is balanced because you're giving the defense a different look, and it's creating a little bit of an indecisiveness as far as the West Virginia defense.
On second down, Brown files to Arudia again. Inside the 25, first down. He had a linebacker, Eric Wicks, down there in coverage, but plenty of space for Arudia.
When you start to see big plays from a passing game, you get a tentative defense, this time backing out, giving Brian Brohm and his receivers plenty of room to execute. And we talked about Brian Brohm and his thumb. He's had a look in his eye yesterday like he got a new toy with his thumb, and it's the best it's felt since the injury against Miami, and he's shown it tonight.
Colby Smith back in, gets the handoff after the pump fake. Goes for the corner. Nice block by Arudia. As Smith cuts it back inside and gets to the 5. 17 more yards.
Well, we just talked about West Virginia having to make a play on defense. 4 plays, 61 yards, mixing it up. This time Colby Smith, the vision, I think, of Colby Smith, outstanding there to bounce it to the outside, and Chris Arudia, a tall, lanky receiver, showing that he's willing to block downfield, and almost was able to spring Colby Smith into the end zone.
The freshman Allen back deep in the I formation, gets the handoff, steps to his right, powers to the end zone, standing up. Kind of a helpless look from Rich Rodriguez and those Mountaineer fans. 66 yards in 5 plays.
Right side of the offensive line. After all the problems, Bobby Petrino has confidence in them, and they blow the West Virginia defense back off the ball, paving the way for Allen into the end zone.
Art Carmody's on pace to break all the career scoring records in Louisville, and he's adding to that tonight. Another PAT. The lead is 17, biggest lead of the night for the Cardinals, 10:19 to play. This second half, and now Louisville aggressively marching down the field to score again. Brian Brohm in this half, 7 of 8 for 147 yards and a touchdown. And the Mountaineers seeing all their dreams of a perfect season. BCS championship game, a trip to the desert in January, in deep, deep trouble. As the defense unable to get that stop they needed. Reynon trying to provide a spark again with the return. Turns the corner and gets out across the 30-yard line. Back in the middle or early 70s here. Number 50 patrolled the defense, deep second base in the old Cardinal Stadium that was across the way here. Tom Jackson for Coach Lee Corso. Top tackler 3 years in a row for this Louisville defense. Joining us up here, our ESPN colleague is number, of course, has been retired right next to Chris Redmond. Kind of like in the days when you played in the Missouri Valley Conference. The stakes about the same here for this Louisville team tonight.
I actually think that this is the biggest game in Cardinal history. They played in a few bowl games. They've beaten Alabama in a bowl game. But in terms of what lies ahead for this ball club, I don't think they've ever played a ball game that's quite this big. And clearly Coach Petrino understands that.
Tommy, you have to be so proud to see this program over the course of the last 5 or 6 years continue to take steps in the right direction, joining the Big East. Now the BCS is a reality. And boy, the way they're recruiting, this thing is really on a roll.
Yeah, a tribute to the AD here, Tom George. He's done a great job. This stadium is a bit different than the old fairgrounds that I played in that had the sawdust on the field. But yeah, they've done a great job of keeping the staff together, keeping Coach Petrino here. And, I think that, they can do whatever they want here. They've been eyeballing being a nationally recognized football team. And, they've got Rutgers and Pitt coming up, but it could be a great season for them.
So that holding penalty on first down nullifies the run. So now the Mountaineers would have to, you'd think, take to the air here because the clock is going away. They can't get a stop. It's 1st and 20.
It's the first time all year that Pat White has been put in a position now with 9 minutes getting close. It's under 10 minutes, getting close to 9 minutes now, where he has to throw down by a couple possessions.
He's 6 for 9, 98 yards passing. Well, he'll take off and run instead. That's one way to gain knowledge back as he quickly bursts for about 50. Maybe they just keep it on the ground.
Yeah, drop back. You think I'm going to throw, but Tommy will tell you that's the defense's dream. You get a quarterback who's a runner into an obvious passing down. You have to be careful with some scrambling, but boy, you can really put the heat on him.
Yeah, I think you want to put big hits on him now. You want to get him down. You want to keep the clock moving. But I credit Coach Petrino for clearly understanding that they needed at least another score, and they might need one more. But eventually, West Virginia is going to be reduced to throwing the football.
Well, Slayton eludes one tackle, but it only creates a bigger loss as William Gay is there for the stop. You lose 12 yards.
Well, when you're a big play athlete, you have a lot of confidence and belief in your ability to create and make a play. That time, the speedster spun away from a tackler and then turned in 5-yard loss into a 12-yard loss because he's trying to make something happen.
3rd and 16. White fires over the middle, complete for a first down. A huge conversion to Brandon Miles, who finally makes a play tonight.
How about that, Tommy?
It's a pretty outstanding throw.
3rd and long.
Well, proving that they can throw the ball if they have to. You almost get the feeling that they'd rather run it, but like I said, a little over 8 minutes left now. They haven't proven they can stop Louisville. I think they're looking for multiple scores, and I'm not just talking about the tie. You might be looking further than you already are.
And an onside kick helped that rally a year ago in Morgantown, guys. I'm telling you, if they get a touchdown here, I would think seriously about trying to get the ball back immediately because you can't stop Louisville.
Have not been able to all night, but Rich Rodriguez probably thinking, we've got to get a quick score, guys. Let's go. He's all about tempo. And then I'm sure he's thinking, the odds are eventually we have to come up with a stop, but they've got to score in a hurry.
Whistle now, official stopping things.
Timeout, Louisville. It's their first charge timeout of the half.
Caught a break there.
I was standing here in a panic watching a wide receiver line up with nobody over
top of him.
Able to get the timeout called from the sideline. So let me ask you this. I mean, you're a little bit biased, but the conversation in college football where we don't settle things on the field like the NFL. Right. You understand we have this crazy BCS system.
I've heard of it.
And some of us like it. Others don't.
Come on.
But now what about Louisville? They get out of here with up 17. The conversation's going to be, is this team good enough to be rated ahead of some teams from quote-unquote power conferences that have lost? But this is a power conference now, though.
Well, I think that when you start looking at the people that they're going to have to play, playing West Virginia tonight, Rutgers is going to, be undefeated when they play them. Pitt's a pretty darn good football team. I think that when you start looking at the people that they beat, is anybody up there where Ohio State is? They're such a good ball club.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's unbeatable. If Louisville's deserving to be there, they're deserving to be there.
It's really going to come down, the debate's going to come down to if Louisville wins tonight and they run the table, you start to look at some of the teams that possibly could be up there, one-loss teams, Florida, Auburn, Texas, USC, Notre Dame. Eventually, the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game will be up there. So,
of course, Cal's going to play USC, and Notre Dame's going to play USC. Auburn and Florida could meet in the SEC championship game. So we'll see how many survivors there are with just a single loss at the end of the season. But Louisville will believe it's making its case tonight. From their point of view, their case is being made tonight here. They've had 457 total yards, and they've played pretty well.
And West Virginia's got 437, but I think most of that's running the football, 319 yards running.
Yeah.
Good old defender watching almost 900 yards and counting.
It's hard to watch, Chris. This is hard to watch.
Amen. It's great to have you here. Well, let's get back to the action.
Thank you, guys.
Tom Jackson, many special guests tonight. A fun night here in Louisville, and we'll see if, as he mentioned, the Cardinals can finish the job. White fires over the head of Brandon Miles on the far sidelines. It's a different deal when the defense knows you're going to throw, and it's not based on deception out of that zone option read, huh?
Oh, of course. And it's tough for any quarterback to be able to execute when it's an obvious passing situation, let alone for a quarterback who's accustomed to running for most of his yards. 4th and 10, game on the line. They've got to convert here.
Delivers to Raynard. He must fight toward the marker. He won't get there. A clutch stop by Lamar Alston, the sophomore backup defensive back. They put a bunch of DBs in the game. Alston, who doesn't see the field all that much, comes up with a huge stop 3 yards short of the marker. And the Mountaineers in deep, deep trouble now.
Huge stop for Louisville, and we're going to get a chance to see Brian Brohm and his Cardinal offense another time to see if they put the nail in the coffin. It was 7 minutes, close to 7 minutes to go in this ball game.
Hit half 100 style points. Louisville has made a pretty good display here tonight. The Holsters looking in. Remember, it was last year. Down 17. About 9 minutes to play at home. It was 24-7. Mountaineers storm back. This doesn't have quite that same feel. The Cardinals with the ball up 17. 7-10 and counting here to go. Finish, finish. That's been the motto ever since that collapse a year ago, and you can believe that they won't let up. Couple tight ends in the game, and they give it off to Smith. Finds a crease left side, and he is met, driven backward and planted physically by young Quentin Andrews, the safety. And a gain of 6.
We were talking there with Tommy about how this team has continued to attack. And this is amazing to watch. Louisville at home. Not only in November, here 6-0 in November, their last 6 home games, but the way they've been able to play the last 15, now 16 home games. The way Bobby Petrino, one of the best offensive minds in the country, calls plays. He is aggressive. Remember we had that debate on game day? What should you do late in the game? Are you conservative? Are you aggressive? If we included Bobby Petrino in that debate, sure he would say always be aggressive.
They've averaged 8.7 yards per play. As you can see, a Mountaineer is down on the field. I believe it's Johnny Dingle, the defensive tackle. And the Applebee's weekend menu. Rutgers, of course, the third undefeated in this conference, will get Louisville next Thursday night. And Greg Schiano was in our studio watching this game, noticing, no doubt, that the Mountaineers have 1 for 319 yards on this Louisville defense. And Rutgers, of course, lives with Ray Rice in the ground game. By the way, Saturday in the Big East, Pitt, which is already bowl eligible, takes on South Florida. USF needs one more win to get bowl eligible. It's a pretty deep conference. It's not just those 3 unbeaten teams.
No, and West Virginia has to play University of Cincinnati next week. And every time we talk to a coach in this conference, they talk about Cincinnati and their defense. And that'll be a challenge for the Mountaineers following this emotional game against Louisville. Very similar to the way the Cards are going to have to go on the road and be able to shake this game and get ready for the Scarlet Knights.
Mountaineer players haven't had to deal with a loss in a long time. It was Johnny Dingle, the defensive lineman for Mountaineers, who's replaced, and they hand it off to Anthony Allen up the middle again. No gain. After that game in Rutgers, which will be a huge scene there. Scarlet Knight folks won't have remembered a bigger home game. It is South Florida right here, the visit to Pittsburgh.
Everybody's so excited about nationally about Louisville and West Virginia. I think a lot of people have really followed this conference and said whoever wins this game still has some tough games to play. And if Louisville's able to hold on, their trip not only to Rutgers but playing Pitt down the road, those are going to be 2 tough games. So there is still a lot of work to do for Louisville.
Colby Smith on 3rd down. Muscles down near the 40. Needed to get inside the 40 for a first down. Didn't quite make it. It'll be 4th down. Interesting to see if this score holds up, where the pollsters will vote Louisville. 5th coming in. Do they kind of jump to where West Virginia was ranked, number 3, by taking care of the Mountaineers? Or will they move up only 1 slot, barring a big upset on Saturday?
I think being undefeated and the way they've scored points, I mean, you can say what you want about their defense and the points that they gave up tonight, but got to remember the team that they were going up against second in the nation as far as 41 points a game, 319 yards a game on the ground. Pretty good effort. And I know Steve Slayton missed most of the third quarter. But still a pretty good effort by Louisville's defense.
And wait for the clock to wind down and call a timeout now. These are the BCS standings, and the key thing is the big drop off there between number 1 and number 2. Obviously, Louisville will move up. Most of the computers preferred Louisville over West Virginia. The pollsters were voting West Virginia higher. Now, Louisville, you have to believe, in the minds of a lot of people, would just kind of jump up to number 3.
I think they'll jump to 3. Florida's playing Vanderbilt. Louisville beating West Virginia, I think it's going to impress a lot of the voters. It's going to impress the computers. I'll be really surprised if you don't see Louisville jump to that 3rd spot, being undefeated, Florida having 1 loss, and just setting itself up for, if Louisville holds on here, they continue to get out there and have a chance.
Hey, a prediction for you, Kirk. They want to see the Buckeyes against the Cardinals in Glendale, January 8th, the BCS championship game. I got news for these folks. They'd be about a 2-touchdown underdog in that game.
Could be. But I was just saying it's going to come down to Louisville, if they win tonight, run the table against the SEC champion who survives getting out of Atlanta, especially if it's Florida or Auburn with just 1 loss.
Corey Getchie hasn't been very busy tonight as a punter. Trying to pooch it down in there. Nice little job with the sand wedge. Backs it up at the 9-yard line. So a big improvement on the special teams from Louisville tonight. That had not been an area of strength at all. They have the punt return for the touchdown, some pretty good other moments on special teams, and they lead by 17 inside 4.5 to play. SportsCenter to follow this game. We'll break down what this victory might mean, look at that, the big picture, and see what you think about a game at Rutgers a week from tonight. NFL Week 9. Southwest Showdown as well. So White down by 17, 91 yards away from the end zone. Fires it far side, complete, but a very short gain. There wasn't much of a cushion provided over there. Gay was able to stop Miles. Good game from William Gay and those Louisville DBs.
They played very well. They've been out at an island a lot tonight in man coverage. Pat White, under 4 minutes, really needs to get in what they call their jet series, where they get up to the line and call plays much quicker.
This is Slayton in the flat. Doesn't choose to go to the sidelines. Takes a big hit at the 24. Gets the first down. They'll stop the clock momentarily to set the chains.
This offense has shown the ability, not only all season, but even tonight, to score in a hurry. This would be a long touchdown drive, but Pat White and Steve Slayton have the ability to score quickly.
Here comes the blitz. White gets away. And we'll get out of bounds. Louisville leads the nation in sacks. They had 28 sacks from 14 different players. That's incredible. 14 different guys had sacks, but White's a tough guy to sack.
He is. That time Lamar Miles had him wrapped up, but he just could not bring him down. Pat White's known as a quick quarterback, but I thought he showed some power there by staying up. And you see all these different players. It's because they rotate so many different bodies in up front at the defensive line and linebacker spot, the way you see most defenses today trying to stay fresh.
Miles, the linebacker, has that 1 sack tonight. White fires wide open as Slayton on the sidelines. Cuts back to the center of the field and is chased down inside the 30. How in the world do you leave Slayton wide open? 44 yards.
Well, there's some confusion and a little bit of a cross move. And I think that the defense there, you have a freshman safety. That time Thomas, who got lulled to sleep, I think. Confusion in the secondary between Gay and Thomas. And how does he leave?
Wow.
The one big-time playmaker that West Virginia has, Steve Slayton, all alone down the sideline.
White fires across the middle. It's incomplete. He's trying to find Nate Sowers, the backup quarterback that they use as kind of a multi-threat. I keep an eye on number 10 if I were the Cardinals right now.
That almost worked out well for Rich Rodriguez. I don't think they wanted that. They're lucky the ball wasn't completed either Sowers gets blown up, maybe fumbles, or the clock keeps moving. They've got to get the ball to downfield to either Reynaud, number 2, or Brandon Miles, number 7.
Reynaud's in the slot. Slate is off the field. It's Schmidt next to White. He stays in as a blocker. White scampers and now fires downfield. Caught. Miles keeps his feet and gets down inside the 5. So they do turn up the tempo and create a 26-yard play.
It's happening fast. I mean, again, you could say what you want about this team. They don't have balance. They can't throw the ball, but they're showing right now that they have that ability to be explosive and get downfield in a hurry. He scrambles a lot of time to buy that. It's time to throw.
White stops short at the 2-yard line. But a nice hit was Brandon Sharp, and the clock continues to tick. And call a timeout now. It's going to be, in all likelihood, too little too late for West Virginia. But they have shown with 210 passing yards, they're capable in that area.
Yeah, they have. They have. And they've also shown for a team that's undefeated, facing a defeat, that they're not quitting. You know, that's always a good sign for a coach.
Our old friend Mike Tirico looking in with interest tonight as a preview of Monday Night Football.
4 interceptions led Oakland's stirring win over Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh. That's back-to-back wins for Randy Moss and the Silver and Black. Now can they knock off the NFC champions? Seattle is banged up and needs a win to stay above 500. Seahawks, Raiders at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Our pal Tariq, of course, who attended Syracuse, has a big interest in Big East football. Excited about what's become of this conference. No one could have foreseen this.
Yeah,
and we're going to have a great scene next week. It'll be a lot of fun in Rutgers. The folks will be amped up to get a national showcase game for their team, which, by the way, destroyed the Navy team more than Notre Dame did. Just if you want to, I know compare scores is tricky, but Scarlet Knights also destroyed the Pittsburgh team.
Did you see those numbers? 999 yards of total offense.
I expected that. That's no big deal.
999.
So if we get over 1,000 on this play, White takes it and scampers into the end zone. It's over 1,000, and the lead is trimmed to 11, and they'll go for 2. Now I wouldn't bother at this point. The 4th rushing touchdown. I thought they could cut it, but now it wouldn't make any difference at this point. They're going to need some onside kicks and some more possessions. But at least we got 1,000 yards of offense.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, next week. It's kind of a home game for you next week. It's a big time there at Rutgers.
Just drive from the city right down to New Jersey. Looking forward to it.
Have you ever been to the stadium?
I have. Not to see a game. I've been inside the stadium, but not to watch a game. No. EA, they made a little secret change to the goalpost, which got the attention of the Mountaineers.
Oh, yeah, it certainly did. It made the headlines in West Virginia, and I'm sure it'll make the headlines here in Louisville tomorrow morning. Collapsible goalposts, guys, were installed last week. Now I was told, well, why? Because you thought you were going to beat West Virginia. I asked the SIDs that, and they said, oh, no, it was just, we thought it was good precaution for the rest of the year, you know, wanted to do that, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Rodriguez was using that to kind of fuel his team. Coaches will use anything. We'll have to see if they do rush the field here. Certainly this is a big landmark milestone win for this program, if they could finish it up.
Well, such anticipation for this game for both these teams, and not only what it means for the program and what it means for the conference, but we've talked all night about the BCS. The winner survives and continues to move on. But I've just been really impressed tonight with Louisville and their offense for a team that came in limping offensively based on what they're accustomed to seeing. Brian Brom has stepped up in a big way. We all question, how's his thumb going to hold up? He didn't look great against the University of Cincinnati when he came back from the injury. Didn't look great against Syracuse. Tonight, you could tell that his thumb felt better, and he had his confidence back, and 354 yards. It's a pretty good night for Brian Brom.
McAfee on the onside kick. It goes out of bounds. So Louisville will take over. You guys recall another Thursday night game in a driving rain back in 2002 when the Knowles came in here. This was a real turnaround win for this program.
Yeah, this was a huge win. Dave Ragone trying to keep them hope alive there. It was this win Florida State, and you had Chris Ricks here in overtime putting the ball up, and ball's intercepted, setting up the Cards. I think it was their first play, if I remember right. First play in overtime, they went in. Pandemonium after that. Huge puddles everywhere. Oh, boy.
Well, they didn't have the newfangled goalpost back then. It took a while for them to try to bring those suckers down, and technology has arrived here. Now, they do recruit the state of Florida hard. I mean, Colby Smith is from Tallahassee himself, and they're starting to go in and compete against the SEC schools in the South. That's their recruiting base, Louisville. They don't do a whole lot in Big Ten country. They go to Georgia and Florida and Alabama to get players, as well as the state of Kentucky.
And opportunities like this to showcase their program on a Thursday night, to show recruits all over the country, is something that Bobby Petrino welcomes.
They hand it off to the senior Smith, who spins forward.
Needs to be reiterated. This is a great win for Louisville. Tom Jackson said maybe the biggest win in this program's history. But I'm telling you, I'm throwing out the warning signs right now. We've seen it too many times this year that a team has a huge win and they turn around the next week and they're flat. They cannot shake an emotional win, an impact win. We've seen it every week. The game that Clemson had against Georgia Tech is probably the most meaningful game, but Louisville will have to forget about this by tomorrow to get ready for an undefeated Rutgers team on the road next week on Thursday night.
Which will be very well rested. So Brian Brom, we call him the X Factor. He hadn't really found his rhythm in those 2 games since the thumb surgery. He's been almost mistake-free tonight. Very accurate, in command, and they've had a lot of yards after the catches tonight as well. That's been very important. Urrutia, the nice catch, the throw in the fade there. It's the 1 touchdown, and he is our Wrangler 5-star player of the game. Efficient for Brom, exactly what the coaches hoped he would do tonight.
Just think, they had to settle for 3 field goals in the first half. I mean, they were moving the ball well throughout the whole game, but had to settle with 3 field goals earlier. This game could have been even that much more impressive for Louisville.
Smith fights forward. Of course, there was the defensive touchdown, the scoop and score by Malik Jackson. Trent Guy had the short punt return for a touchdown. It's nice when you got an offense as good as Louisville's and you get 2 non-offensive touchdowns. The offense in this game is LeBron and the Cavaliers take on the Spurs, NBA's opening week. That's Friday at 7:30, followed by the Lakers and the Supersonics. Kia NBA shoot-around begins everything at 7:30. Talked to Rick Pitino earlier, the great tradition of hoops here. Junior Bridgman is going way back, makes the team. You got to have Darrell Griffith, doctors at dunk. Francisco Garcia from the latter era. And the Mountaineers, I mean, Jerry West is the captain of the squad. You had Hot Rod, Kevin Pittsnagel. Who wins that game? 4-on-4. Jerry West is pretty good.
Jerry West is great, but I'll go with the depth in the bench of Louisville, I think.
Okay. Pretty good 4-on-4.
Yeah.
Pittsnagel will take unsettled outside, try to hit the jumper on him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now you've got a big weekend planned. We're going to miss you on College Game Day. You got the Ponies on Saturday.
First time in 16 years. Not at a College Game Day. Reese Davis will fill in very well, and I get to hang out in town and watch $20 million in purses up for grabs at the Breeders' Cup.
Look forward to watching that. You sure you don't want to join me on the 6 a.m.er down to Houston?
I'm good. I'll be out there the backside at 6 a.m. now watching this run. I missed you this morning, by the way. You were supposed to rendezvous at the Barnes at Churchill, and it didn't happen. What happened? I thought you wanted to feed Bernardini an apple.
I did. I wanted to feed him an apple.
Didn't work out for you.
I want to get in there. You're like, what'd you say? This in the petting zoo? He said these are finely tuned machines. They don't have time. I wanted to feed him an apple, maybe a candy cane. You guys say he's the best horse since, what are they saying, Secretariat?
Maybe it belongs in that class. You can't just show up over there at Churchill in the morning and say, hey, Tom Albertrani, which one's Bernardini? Give me a carrot. Let me feed him an apple.
I did.
Those horses are worth. Do you know he's going to make Bernardini, after he finished his career, in all likelihood the Classic.
There he is.
Probably with a win. They make $35 million next year alone in breeding rights.
Can I give him a hug? I just want to hug his neck.
If you pay your fee, you can get near him. But
Randy Moss said he was going to hook me up. I just couldn't get over there at 4.
I know you guys will be watching the Breeders' Cup and a little bus down there at College Station. Keep an eye on one monitor for us down there.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get bottom left treatment. Screen 2.
We'll see where Steve Slayton goes. The 2 fumbles that he had perhaps will severely damage his chances of being a Heisman finalist. Do you think? He did have the 2 fumbles. He had a big night, 156 yards rushing, but the 2 turnovers, which were huge in this game.
The turnovers were big. The injury taking him out. The loss by the team. Even though it's a year where the Heisman Trophy is after Troy Smith, it's wide open on who's going to get to New York City and who's going to be a finalist. This was a golden opportunity for him to take a hold of it and say, hey, I deserve to be there. And just wasn't able to take advantage of that opportunity tonight.
And he's still one of the most explosive offensive players in the country, and you can see the Louisville fans poised to make a run onto this field. The goalpost may be down before they get to him, but they're going to still have a party here at Papa John's. Wait. Fires into traffic, and it's dropped. Sowers there, the quarterback. Shifted out as a receiver to convert him to that position as their third-team quarterback. Talked about that game in Rutgers, Kirk. They haven't had many big games in the kind of New York, New Jersey area in terms of college football. Back in the 40s when Army was great, playing Notre Dame in Yankee Stadium, but not a lot of big games in the tri-state area in college football recently. That's going to be a big event in Rutgers a week from tonight.
Louisville's 10-point win tonight on national TV, I think, going to be impressive enough to see them move up ahead of Florida. They'll obviously go by West Virginia.
You put them number 3?
I'll put them at number 3, definitely in the polls. I think they earned that tonight. Playing in a game of this magnitude, 2 top 5 teams. You can talk style points all you want. I think the thing that hurts them is the perception of the Big East. People need to get over that and realize that this is a much better conference than people expect if you watch it week in and week out. And they deserve to move up to 3, remaining unbeaten tonight.
I'll vote them 3 as well. Skeptics will say, well, they got outgained by 80 yards and survived this game on turnovers. And there is the sack they've been waiting all night for as they finally converge on White. And that'll be the final play of Louisville's biggest home game ever. And here comes the crowd from all 4 corners. They celebrate by stomping on the logo. Satisfying for Brian Brohm and a very frustrating night for Steve Slayton. Rich Rodriguez and the Mountaineers, the second longest win streak in the nation, is snapped at 14.
Come a long way on Thursday Night Football. Back-to-back weeks where the students pour onto the field. Last week in Blacksburg, tonight in Louisville. Huge win for this program. Huge game for Brian Brohm.
This is what they do, Kirk. They run to the center of the field and jump up and down on that bird logo that a few times in recent years the visitors have disrespected them by stepping on. They take over the logo, and then the students kind of surround them, and it's a great scene. The goalposts have been quickly brought down as planned, but this party may go on for a while in the center of the field. We'll pick up the pieces for the Mountaineers, see what the next few weeks might hold for them. Talk about the big picture as Louisville wins it by 10. More of our post-game coverage coming up next on SportsCenter. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews, our entire crew here in Louisville, I'm Chris Fowler. Cardinals win it by 10. We'll see you right back here for SportsCenter, which is now. Slayton headed for the end zone. Touchdown.
This is SportsCenter.
Back to Louisville for much more on what was the battle of the unbeaten. So what's next for the winner and loser? Plus, the Spurs take on the Mavs Western Conference semifinal rematch. Would it be Dirk or Timmy? Coming up big in Dallas. And two huge AFC matchups in Week 9. Chad's O versus Ray D. And what favors the Pats over the Colts. Hi there, welcome to SportsCenter alongside Timmy. I'm Steve Really John Anderson. It's a good time to take a long weekend in Louisville. Breeders' Cup is there on Saturday. As for tonight, even though it's only November 2nd, quite possibly a bid for college football's national championship game was on the line tonight.
Yes, unbeaten Louisville Cardinals, unbeaten West Virginia Mountaineers. The Big East flexing its football muscles, not that little round one. Chilly November night in Kentucky could very well mean a trip to warm Arizona in January. Steve Slayton, Pat White leading the Mountaineers ground attack. Best rushing attack in the nation, but they're up against Louisville's 8th-ranked rushing defense. So the fun here, strength against strength. And what a game they had a year ago. 3 overtimes, 90 points scored. How would the Heisman candidate Slayton factor against the Cardinals? Well, in the first quarter, he factored very well. 42 yards, nobody's touching him. Right to the end zone, West Virginia takes a 7-3 lead. We go to the second quarter. Louisville trailing 7-6. They had a pair of field goals here. They're going to reach the end zone. Harry Douglas. Harry's going to reach the end zone. Harry's going to tackle himself. Oh, the turf monster got him. Might have had 6. The drive continues. Anthony Allen bounces left. Look at Big 42. He's in for 6. Cardinals take a 13-7 lead at the half. It was 16-14. Exciting, close contest here on ESPN. Opening drive of the second half for the Mighty Mounts. Slayton. Off he goes. But he fumbles. Louisville recovers, so we have a change of possession. Minute 6 into this thing. Second play of the Cardinal drive. Brom to Jimmy Riley. He's got it. Now he doesn't have it. Now West Virginia has it. Wild start to the half. Turnover per turnover. Next play from scrimmage. Slayton got it. Oh, he puts it on the turf as well. Down it goes. Malik Jackson picks it up. Off he goes. Touchdown. Louisville back on top 23-14. 3 fumbles in the first 4 plays of the second half. They must have them extra slippery footballs over there. Slayton injured left hand. Keep an eye on that for you. West Virginia punting. Trent Guy. Couple of nice blocks. And look at that guy go. Oh, a crusher there. There will be, oh, you saw the LFA infraction against the team in the white jerseys. That's declined. Louisville adds to its lead 30-14. Later in the third, same score, White. Off he goes. Touchdown there. West Virginia cuts the lead to 30-21. We're just going to keep scoring. SportsCenter to follow. First play of the fourth quarter, Brom drops back. A little fade to Brandon Miles. Brom, 19 of 26 for more than 350 yards through the air. Louisville, hello, 37-21. Slayton, that's it. We're holding on to it. We're testing it. We're ready to go. Get him out there. Next West Virginia drive. Slayton to carry. Runs left. Down inside the 15. Keeps possession. First down, West Virginia. Later in the drive, White. It's West Virginia. It's West Virginia. The pride of every Mountaineer. Come all you old grads, come join us young lads. We're in for a touchdown. 37-27. Failed 2-point conversion. Later in the fourth, it's 44-27 Louisville. And finally, that 8th-ranked rushing defense stiffens. They allowed 328 yards rushing. Here, Slayton loses 12, and Louisville wins it 44-27. 44-34 as West Virginia tacks on a late touchdown there. So for Louisville, their 16th straight home win. West Virginia's streak of 14 straight wins anywhere ends. And for just the second time in history, Louisville beats the Mighty Mounts 6-2 all-time. Now their first win against West Virginia since 1990. Back then, it was 9-7. Back to Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit in Louisville. More on the contest from the Big East.
Yeah, maybe 10,000 folks on the field at Papa John Stadium in a big mosh pit surrounding the Louisville Cardinals. They do come through in this big moment. More than 1,000 yards. These two teams combining, the skeptics might say, well, Louisville gave up a lot of yards, especially a lot of yards on the ground, 318 in West Virginia. Is this really the third best team in the country?
Well, you got to remember who they're playing. I mean, they're playing a West Virginia team who came in as one of the more powerful offenses in the country. And you really look at this game and dissect it. I think West Virginia was pretty fortunate with some good defensive stands to stay in the game early. This game really could have gotten out of hand because West Virginia could not stop Brian Brohm and the Cardinals offense. I thought it was an impressive performance. The game was won at the start of the third quarter. The miscues, the turnovers, Steve Slayton going down with an injury. At that point, Louisville had control of the football game, and they really never let go of it from that point on.
Mountaineer fan doesn't want to leave. Their dreams of playing in the national championship game dying on a very chilly night here in Louisville. The 14-game winning streak is snapped. Brian Brohm, he was the X factor coming in. How would the thumb hold up? Just fine, thanks. He's with Aaron Andrews.
All right, Brian, we got to get your reaction here. All these fans around you screaming the biggest game in Louisville history. How does this feel?
It feels great. It feels great to come out here and get a victory in front of the home fans. But now the biggest game in Louisville history is the Rutgers game coming up.
It certainly is. First off, we got to start off with the thumb. Everybody questioning it coming into the game with the cold weather. How'd you deal with it tonight?
It did great. I was over by the heater. I had hand warmers in my hand warmer, so it was warm the whole time. No problems with it. I just need those few weeks to get it back to normal.
These fans behind you chanting BCS. The guys in the booth saying, with a win like this, looks like you'll move up to number 3, possibly play the winner of the Ohio State-Michigan game. What do you think about that?
That's great, but we got a big one next week. Undefeated Rutgers team. I know these people want that BCS, and we're going to try to get it to them.
Final Four atmosphere. How do you enjoy it?
What's that?
This is a Final Four atmosphere. How are you enjoying it?
This is great. This is great. I love this. This is why you play football.
Thanks, Brian.
Aaron, thank you. Maybe it's more like a regional final. Louisville's gotten out of this one, and you love it, Kirk, when your quarterback and your leader is so down to earth and has it in perspective, because Rutgers is an undefeated team, as Brohm pointed out twice in that interview, and this is going to be on their home field with an atmosphere just like this, but the Cardinals the visitor.
Because I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for Louisville is, this is a huge game. Everybody was anticipating this matchup, but it's that next week after the emotional win, there's always a possibility of a letdown, and that's what I think. It's great to hear Brian Brohm already focused and already talking about a very good Rutgers team on the road, because it's going to take a similar effort by Louisville next week away from Papa John's Stadium to be able to win next week against the Scarlet Knights. It'll be a great matchup.
Ray Rice and Rutgers will have that game for you against undefeated Louisville for the second straight week. It'll be a battle of unbeatens in the Big East, this one in New Jersey, with the national title hopes again on the line for the Cardinals. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. This was Louisville's 5th all-time crack at a top 3 team.